On May 16, 2017, the demon race occupied the last inch of human territory. The human world fell completely. In that fierce battle with smoke and fire filling the sky, Tu Tran stood in the middle of the battlefield, his face cold and covered in blood. 7 years earlier, several demon kings suddenly descended on the world. Among them the demon king Lam and Gaia. They commanded the demon race, crushing the human realm with overwhelming power. He looked down on him with contempt and sneered. "You calling you humanity's last hope? Your whole species is trash, unable to withstand a single strike." His claws condensed a blazing red orb of energy. "Now make the most of your final value." The energy turned the space a solid, blazing red. Lam and Gaiet said gloomily, "Become my food, become my power." Tu Tran's whole body was lifted by that energy, gradually absorbed bit by bit. He desperately struggled, but to no avail. Images flashed through Tu Tran's mind. His sister, comrades, master, all his dearest loved ones. He gritted his teeth, fresh blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. They had all had their lives stolen by those beasts. In the end, Tu Tran chose to trigger an energy eruption to destroy everything. "I will perish with you for their sake." The space flashed with dazzling gold, lightning crackling outward. It was the SSS rank ultimate skill, Supreme Lake Radiance. Lam and Gaiet was trapped by that overwhelming power and cried out in horror. "What is this? I can't move." Tu Tran's body began to crumble before he vanished. Fragments of memory appeared in his head. There was his sister, the silhouette of his master etched in memory, and his parents, a happy, peaceful family. Everything began to dim. Tu Tran whispered with regret, "We'll see each other soon, if only I were stronger." Before his form completely dissolved, he wished, "If only I could be a little stronger. If only I could turn back time 10 years, discover the demon infestations earlier, prevent the first demon king's arrival." Everything shattered in the blinding energy. Lam and Gaiet roared in rage. "You vile race, you actually made me." Before he could finish, his body too was reduced to splintered fragments. When he opened his eyes, a dim light shone in. Tu Tran saw a ceiling. He opened his eyes and groggily looked up. He was lying in a room, his wrist bandaged tightly. Tu Tran sat up, bewildered, lifting his injured wrist to look. "Am I not dead yet?" He swung his feet off the bed, curiously surveying the room. "Where is this?" Tu Tran went to the window and looked down. It turned out he was in the school infirmary. Dusk lay over the campus. Students chatted and laughed merrily. Tu Tran froze, unable to believe his eyes. Wasn't the world destroyed? So many people like this, where did they all come from? It took him a long time to accept reality. "I've traveled back in time 10 years, returned to my student days." He examined his youthful face in the mirror, eyes wide with astonishment. Suddenly, a strip of static text appeared before him, displaying on the screen the line, "The savage assimilation power complete." Only now did he realize his wish had come true. "I've gone back to before any of this happened." Tu Tran hurriedly checked his phone. The screen showed 4:15 p.m. May 16, 2017. It took him a long moment to digest the information. "I've gone back 10 years. May 16, 2017. He knew clearly this was 3 years before the first Demon King descended. Those harsh, dark memories surged back into Tu Tran's mind. In 2020, 3 years later, the first Demon King, Fury, would descend and open the gates of hell. Other Demon Kings would follow, arriving in the human world because of him. That was the starting point of total destruction. "And that's how I lost everything." Tu Tran stared at his hands in stunned silence, then gave a small smile. "But now I'm back." He believed that if he could defeat the first Bao Nu and prevent the Hellgate from opening, there was still a chance to change everything. The system still displayed. Brutal Devour fusion power integrated all. He watched it curiously. What is this Brutal Devour power display? Since opening his eyes, it had been hovering before him. When Si Chen reached out to touch it, it vanished, then switched to a stats panel. All attributes read 100. Strength, stamina, elemental power, speed, insight, mental power. What is this game-like data? Are these my current attribute points? Si Chen was puzzled. He'd never seen anything like this before. Previously, he always fought with awakening power, something only 1 in 10,000 possessed. Besides, the school he attended was the National Awakener University, which only admitted students with awakening potential. Yet sadly, in his previous life, he failed to awaken during 4 years of university. Always at the bottom of the food chain, bullied by everyone. Si Chen rubbed his chin thoughtfully, suddenly realizing, this is probably why I woke up in the medical ward. Suddenly the screen switched to a new interface, catching his attention. It displayed Profession Electric Striker, Strength 100, Stamina 100, Elemental Power 100, Speed 100, Insight 100, Mental Power 100, Skill Veil God. A current of electricity ran through his body. In an instant, his movement speed increased tenfold. Electro Drill. Focus electricity into a blade, increasing critical damage for attacks. Hitting a weak point causes a paralysis effect. Si Chen was shocked. Electric Striker Electric System. Isn't this the profession I had in my last life? His whole body trembled. He vaguely felt a source of energy running through him. Could this be the power from my past life returning? Could I have awakened earlier? Si Chen was eager to test it immediately. Let me check how strong I am now. Notification, reassigning profession. Suddenly a creak sounded outside. Someone had opened the door. Si Chen whipped his head around. Ma Long, his dorm roommate, entered, holding a pile of snacks. He exclaimed in surprise, "Huh!" Ma Long ran over happily and asked, "Bro, you're awake. Are you okay?" Si Chen replied, "I'm fine now." From Ma Long's reaction, he glanced at the still-displayed interface and found his answer. Sure enough, others couldn't see the interface. Ma Long checked him over and exclaimed in surprise, "The wounds on you? All gone? You clearly took a beating yesterday. Your recovery is even faster than an awakener like me." He glanced at the guy babbling beside him and smiled faintly. This is his dorm roommate, Ma Long. Although he had awakened during university, he still ranked near the bottom of the class. In the previous life, when the third Demon King descended, Ma Long was brutally killed. But now he truly stood before him, alive and well. Ma Long checked Si Chen in surprise. "I even feel like he's stronger now. Is that a mistake?" Si Chen finally allowed himself to relax, the corners of his mouth curling into a small smile. Only at this moment did he truly feel, "I'm really back." Ma Long suddenly remembered and slapped his hands together. "Right, tomorrow is that rank test. If you're okay now, let's hurry back and prepare." He hurriedly pushed Si Chen toward the door. "Even if you haven't awakened, it still affects the graduation assessment. Come on." The campus grounds remained peaceful as ever. Everyone was busy with their own activities. Some played soccer, others went for a run. Si Chen strolled leisurely across the training field. "It's been so long since I've seen so many people alive like this." Ma Long got goosebumps and quickly rubbed his arms. "What are you saying to scare people like that?" He couldn't help but ask curiously. "Bro, are we just strolling around the sports field?" Meanwhile, Si Chen remained lost in old memories. He had once lost everything. His heart grew heavy thinking of that dark future. If I do nothing, that hopeless future will return soon. From then on, a fierce determination rose inside Si Chen. He needed to plan immediately and rapidly level himself up. He understood that in this era, awakened ones had only one path to level up, killing demon beasts in lairs. But the big lairs were monopolized by major guilds. Outsiders basically had no chance to get in. If these are my current values, how does my power compare to other awakeners and demon beasts? To distinguish strength, the government graded awakeners and demon beasts from highest to lowest. S right arrow A right arrow B right arrow C right arrow D right arrow E. Most students at the school only ranked E, only a few geniuses or those from guild backgrounds reached D. Si Chen thought confidently, "I'm definitely stronger than him." Suddenly a basketball came flying from nowhere and slammed into Ma Long's face. Ma Long collapsed to the ground, his glasses shattered. On the stairs, a few guys lounged and laughed loudly. One sneered, "They recover pretty fast, don't they? I told you those two take hits really well." The arrogant guy pointed and asked, "You guys knew I was playing basketball here, so why didn't you bring 2 crates of drinks?" Ma Long trembled in fear and kowtowed. "Sorry, I'll go buy them right away." Si Chen stepped forward calmly, his voice cold. "He's not the one at fault. The ones who should apologize are you." He stared at the guy and asked icily, "Is it this one?" Some memories from the past suddenly surged back. In his previous life, Si Chen had been pushed headfirst into water by Gong Ting, repeatedly forced down against the sink in the bathroom. Ma Long curled up in a corner, trembling and pleading, "Please, stop." Gong Ting kept pressing Si Chen's head into the water with one hand, sneering casually. "Why stop? I'm helping him awaken." The force on his wrist grew stronger and stronger. "He still hasn't awakened. Shouldn't we stimulate him a bit more?" The gang of cronies behind him laughed uproariously at the pitiful scene. Seeing Si Chen no longer moving, they lost interest. Let's go, this isn't fun anymore." Ma Long rushed over worried, Si Chen, are you okay? Water from his soaked hair ran down his cheek, indistinguishable from tears. His voice, full of bitterness, rang out. Why won't you leave us alone? More than anyone, Si Chen understood that malice didn't only exist in monsters, it also lived in people's hearts. Gong Cheng had earlier threatened. What did you just say? He casually ordered his underlings. Go on, keep beating him until he wakes up. Gong Cheng was momentarily stunned when Si Chen spoke. Huh, he said. Ma Long, bruised and battered, weakly said, Si Chen, what are you saying? Gong Cheng, an E-rank fighter, stepped forward, green energy radiating from his arm. The two underlings followed suit. Si Chen's gaze grew cold as he stared silently at his opponent. He knew this was Gong Cheng. Relying on his brother, the student council president and the strongest at the school, Gong Cheng bullied the weak, though his own ability was nothing special. Nearby classmates noticed and whispered, Look, Gong Cheng's about to beat them again. They just got out of the hospital and they're getting hit again. One is the weakest awakener and the other hasn't even awakened. Truly the two most useless guys in school. Gong Cheng stopped in front of Si Chen and looked down from above, his voice as cold as ice. What did you just say? Say it again. And don't bother us any more after this. He raised his fist. I think you're really asking for a beating, aren't you? Si Chen calmly lifted his hand to block the punch. Gong Cheng staggered back on his feet, a pained groan escaping his mouth. The sight left everyone gaping in shock. What just happened? He actually blocked Gong Cheng's punch, but he clearly hasn't awakened. Damn it, am I seeing things? Gong Cheng felt utterly humiliated as everyone pointed and buzzed. Shit! A weak, unawakened brat dares to challenge me. Si Chen faintly condensed lightning in his palm, the corner of his mouth lifting. Perfect timing to test you. System display progress. Profession change complete. Si Chen, electric striker. Supplementary info appeared. Veil God, a current of electricity runs through the body. Movement speed increases tenfold in an instant. Electro drill, focus electricity into a blade, increasing critical damage on attacks. Hitting a weak point causes paralysis. In addition, stats have been upgraded. Strength 200. Speed 300. Elemental power 100. Insight 100. Mental power 100. Ma Long shouted in panic. When did you awaken? Lightning crackled around Si Chen. Gong Cheng activated immortal demon armor, his hand swelling as he roared excitedly. I think you forgot yourself. Lightning crackled around Si Chen. Gong Cheng activated immortal demon armor, his hand swelling as he roared excitedly. I think you forgot yourself. He aimed his giant fist at Si Chen. It tastes like killer fist already, but in the next moment, he gaped as Si Chen's fist appeared right in front of him. Smack! Gong Cheng's whole body was knocked to the ground by that punch, thrown far backward as fresh blood sprayed everywhere. Classmates were stunned. Just now in an instant, what happened? One punch sent Gong Cheng flying. Ma Long questioned his whole life, watching everything upheave before his eyes. They must be dreaming. Is that really Si Chen? What on earth just happened? Gong Cheng lay face down on the ground, cursing. You motherfucker, dare to hit me from behind. He turned and shouted at his underlings. What are you standing there for? But now Si Chen advanced like a vengeful demon, stepping forward with a dark presence. Gong Cheng, still in pain, immediately lunged forward, snarling. I'll kill you. Si Chen casually lifted his hand, grabbed Gong Cheng's wrist to hold him, then crushed the wrist and bent it sharply backward. Gong Cheng was struck dumb with pain, screaming miserably. Si Chen raised his fist wrapped in crackling electricity and sneered. You're too chicken. At that moment, lightning flared across a corner of the courtyard. Gong Cheng took the full brunt of the blow. He was flung like a torn toy, sent flying far away. Thud! A heavy fall echoed. No one expected the arrogant guy to be beaten so mercilessly. He lay covered in blood, clothes in tatters, motionless and unable to move. The whole school fell silent, staring at him in shock. Ma Long was shaken, stammering. Si Chen, when did he become this strong? Si Chen glanced at the status bar, quietly drawing some preliminary conclusions. First, as before, I can shift into assassin electric state at any time, although the system level is currently only level 1. As predicted, the normal state is already enough to handle the lowest rank awakened. This shows my current rank is higher than E, but exactly which rank remains unclear. However, there's still one problem. I clearly defeated him, so why did the system values not change at all? He lifted Gong Cheng's collar, electricity crackling around his body. Behind him, a gentle voice spoke. Classmate, this is a school. Lin Vu, vice president of the student council, spoke up to admonish. Although he was the one at fault, such punishment had been enough. She smiled, offering counsel. He won't dare lay a hand on you again from now on. Si Chen released his grip. Gong Ting collapsed to the ground, lying there whimpering. He glanced at Lin Vu, wondering, why is the student council so eager to protect him? But he had no intention of truly finishing him off. If this kind of person isn't thoroughly suppressed, they'll keep clinging and causing trouble later. Gong Cheng's two underlings cowered behind a wall, whispering. That guy's expression just now was terrifying. Better not provoke him anymore. Is that even Si Chen anymore? Aren't those two the weakest and poorest in the whole school? Si Chen didn't want to waste more time there and said coldly, Let's go. Ma Long hurriedly followed after him. Ling Vu stood behind, murmuring with keen interest. Weakest, poorest. At night in the South Dormitory building, Ma Long eagerly recounted the afternoon's events, but no one believed him. He was anxious to prove it. Why don't you believe me? Si Chen really did awaken, and he's an electric assassin super strong. Ma Long reenacted the scene, waving his arms wildly. He literally sent Gong Ting flying into the ground. Now those guys don't even dare look us in the eye. A roommate, Xiangzhu, rank Colonel Mage, poked his ear, annoyed. So where did he go then? Ma Long hesitated, scratching his head. Seems like, he said he went for a run. The other guy jabbed a finger at Ma Long's head and scolded. If he's that strong, why run? Do awakeners still need basic training like that? Does it make any sense? Huh, another roommate, Xiangzhu, rank also Colonel, chimed in, fingers clacking on the keys. Looks like Ma Long's head really got smashed. Right, wake up a bit, Xiangzhu reminded. The reason the four of us share this dorm is that our ranks are the four lowest in the cohort. That's unchangeable. Besides, I'm ranked bottom up, number 1 in the dorm. Each person can only awaken one profession in their life. Those two are just support. I'm the dorm's sole combat profession, Colonel Mage. This is high-tier reality, unchangeable. Si Chen, with that pathetic look, how could he awaken as an electric assassin? As for me, I've been feeling stronger lately. Maybe I'll even join a guild. Xiangyu paid little attention and lazily said, Tomorrow is the final rank evaluation before graduation. Everything will be clear then. At the E-rank trial zone, Demon Haunt, a group stood guard over a spatial gate. From inside the gate, a figure stepped out. The person was Gong Ting, the student council president. Ling Vu followed behind. He informed his subordinates and began to leave. Today's trials end here. Suddenly, Gong Ting stopped when he saw a figure in the shadows. He asked, You've been waiting here. Gong Cheng, still bitter about the morning, ground his teeth. If you don't intervene, I won't be able to sleep tonight. In front of so many people, he humiliated me. He clearly doesn't respect you. Gong Ting remained calm in the face of that anger. I understand. He promised I'll help you deal with him. At dinner, Gong Ting leisurely sliced a steak. Ling Vu sat opposite and asked, How do you plan to handle this? He replied, He's inferior to others. Gong Ting seemed doubtful. Is that guy really as strong as they say? Ling Vu answered, I know everyone's full strength and rank in the school. Fewer than 10 people reached rank D, and I've already recruited them into my guild. Moreover, no one else has the chance to contact demon haunts like I do. Those ordinary awakeners have no way to level up. She believed no one could catch up to his pace. In the pouring rain at night, Si Chen was running on the training field. He carried a 100 kg backpack on his shoulders and ran continuously for 20 km. This was a self-imposed training regimen. Basic training can improve physique, and awakener's upper limit correlates with their basic physical strength. Only with sufficient physical strength can one endure and fully unleash a profession's power. But this is far from enough. In 2020, the Demon King Wrath left the demon haunts and descended into the human world, instantly killing a vast number of people. His only relative, his sister Si Yun, died at his hands. Watching Si Yun die in his arms, he begged in despair, Please. No. Si Chen seethed thinking of him. It was Wrath who opened the gates of hell and allowed other demon kings to enter the human world. Therefore, the goal of the first stage is to kill Wrath. Wrath is the source of all destruction. He will descend in 3 years. He's surely accelerating his growth. I have to be faster than him. Suddenly, the phone in his pocket vibrated. Si Chen took it out to check. The screen showed a call from a painfully familiar name. Si Yun was calling. He was surprised and hurriedly put the phone to his ear. Hello. On the other end, Si Yun's curious voice asked, Why have you been calling me so much today? My phone died during the match. I just got back to the dorm and plugged it in. She cheerfully continued. Remember I told you, if I win this prize, we can pay the rent. Si Chen stood frozen in the rain. In that ruined future, he had begged the heavens many times. Could he start over? Si Yun, hearing his silence, urged, Hey, is it raining there? Why aren't you saying anything? He swore that even if he had to pay with everything, even if it drove him into endless hell. A soft voice said, "It's nothing." Tears streamed down Si Chen's face, blending with the rain. It's been so long since I heard your voice." Si Yun, puzzled, said, "What are you talking about? Didn't we just talk on the phone yesterday? Wait until my match is over and we can meet. Just wait for my good news. Bye." Si Chen soaked in the rain as if purging the dark past, welcoming a new beginning. Now everything truly started over. The responsibility to protect his family drove him to persist in training. 3 more laps. Si Chen vowed to become stronger, as fast as possible, to protect all of this. Finally, he returned to the room late at night. His roommates were all asleep. 8 hours had passed since he returned to this era. Si Chen entered the shower, gradually getting used to this youthful body. Although his physical capacity was still relatively weak, it was a perfect start. After changing, he kept musing. Next, he had to solve the most important question. Si Chen sat on the bed, worried about the situation. Leveling up requires entering demon haunts, but the demon haunts are monopolized by the guilds. Aside from the nobles, most people have no chance to level up. How can he get access to demonic beasts? And that violent devour power, what exactly is it? As he closed his eyes, the system status suddenly transmitted. A blazing red screen appeared. Initializing, core status, 70% progress bar filling. Violent devour system, initialization complete. Si Chen was now drifting in a formless space. He opened his eyes wide, feeling himself falling freely. He flipped over and landed safely. Before him was a desolate, dark place, with a sky-piercing pillar towering in the void. Si Chen couldn't help but whisper, "Where is this? I'm not supposed to be asleep." Looking at what was in front of him, Si Chen realized it was a skyscraping tower standing in the gloomy space. What is this tower? From the mud-like ground, monsters slowly emerged. They were nothing but bleached skeletons. Tang Zio, an E-rank cloud soldier. A system message abruptly appeared. "Converting profession," he exclaimed. "Demonic beasts. Could this be inside a demon haunt?" The next update announced, "Profession conversion complete. Level 1, Si Chen, electric assassin." Si Chen immediately condensed an electric blade in his hand. Although the situation was still unclear, first he had to deal with these nuisances. Additional updates for Electric Assassin. Shock Vein. An electric current runs through the body, instantly increasing movement speed by 10 times. Electric Blade. Concentrates electricity into a blade, boosting critical damage on attacks. Hitting a weak point causes a paralysis effect. The Tangseo swarmed toward him. Si Chen struck the first one's weak point with the electric blade. Immediately an update popped up. Received 3 Tangseo teeth. He single-handedly and nimbly cleared the whole pack. With his current strength, handling these E-rank monsters was still effortless. Everything felt horrifically real, nothing like being asleep. Experience kept rising. System notice, leveled up. Level 2 right arrow level 3. Seeing the aura around his body, Si Chen realized the most important thing. I can gain experience and level up here. He opened the status panel elated. All attributes increased by 5 points. He couldn't believe the benefit he was getting. I actually have a whole demon haunt to grind alone. At that moment, Si Chen encountered the Tangseo King, the pack's leader. He swung the electric blade hard. Then I'll stay and train properly here. As soon as he defeated the leader, a notification rang. Received 320 experience points. Leveled up, level 3 right arrow level 4. Obtained 18 Tangseo Fangs, 1 Tangseo Condensate. Si Chen rejoiced inwardly. The leader's experience is many times that of the small mobs. In just a short while I've gained 2 levels. Suddenly the system announced, "Devour available." He gaped, unable to believe it. Reading those words, Si Chen wondered, what does that mean? He slowly raised his hand. Could it be? The meaning of violent devour is absorbing demonic creatures. The Tangseo King before him turned into a wisp of gas and was slowly sucked into his palm. System display, devouring, devour complete. Gained, Tangseo King, Cloud Soldier, Frostbone Physique, immunity to cold. In low-temperature environments, all resistance attributes are increased. He was stunned. The demonic creature was absorbed into a card. I can actually kill and then swallow an enemy, turning them into my own profession. Suddenly, Si Chen realized a horrifying truth. Wasn't this the same process as before, when I absorbed the power of Demon King Lan Yue? The image of me absorbing the monster's energy was no different from the past. He finally understood. That was the power of Demon King Lan Yue. The violent devour power originally belonged to him, and I have taken it. Professions are born with inherent strengths and weaknesses. In other words, each person should only be able to possess a single profession. But now, I hold 2 professions at the same time. If I can devour other demonic beasts, then I could hold countless professions. Si Chen couldn't help but wonder, Why do I have this power? He glanced at the tower behind him. And what is that demon tower? Suddenly, a tremendous pressure descended, causing his legs to buckle. Si Chen was shocked. This overwhelming aura is what's happening. From afar, a figure appeared. A deep voice echoed. You finally arrived. I have waited for you here for a long time. It was a territory lord-class monster, and he knew his name, Si Chen. The authorities classify combat power of the awakened and monsters from lowest to highest. E right arrow, D right arrow, C right arrow, B right arrow, A right arrow, S. He was blasted backward by the creature's power. Si Chen clenched the electric blade, thinking, last life I nearly died trying to reach S rank. Now my maximum combat power is only D, but I'm facing an S rank boss. The level gap is huge. He completely overwhelms all my stats. What kind of demon haunt is this? Why is there an S rank monster? And why does it know my name? While fighting the territory lord, Si Chen realized he'd battled it for dozens of rounds. During that time, it had countless chances to kill him outright, but each time it attacked, it always avoided killing blows, merely defeating him repeatedly. He was sent flying far away, trying to crawl back up. The territory lord asked coldly, still struggling. Si Chen realized the creature's intention. It wanted to subdue him. The territory lord warned, you'd better reconsider the choices I've offered. Will you stay here and guard this demon tower with me? It's a rare opportunity. He refused outright. No matter what, I will never stay in this damned place. Suddenly, a surge of power shot up from the ground, sharp as a blade across his shoulder. Fresh blood sprayed everywhere. The territory lord nearly lost patience. Do you really think I won't kill you? Only because you're the only one who could reach here have I been patient with you. He clutched his wounded arm, quietly seeking a way. The territory lord unleashed immense energy, strength, and stamina surging. He gave him one last chance. I'm asking you one last time. A massive chunk of earth was lifted. He stood above, arrogantly asking, stay here, or shall I grind you into pulp? Si Chen began to speak. I choose. His body crackled with lightning as he lunged at the opponent. To kill you. The territory lord hurled massive boulders at him. Ridiculous. Si Chen nimbly landed on each rock, gradually closing in on the territory lord. He had a plan. From the recent exchanges, he'd observed clearly that before each of its slashes, there was a 0.4-second wind-up. He could use that window to read the wrist angle, determine the blade's trajectory, and dodge the edge. More importantly, after an attack, it had a 0.2-second recovery. If he targeted that gap, he could strike when it was completely off guard, instantly plunging the electric blade through its heart. He recalled the electric blade's attributes. Concentrates electricity into a blade. Attacks gain extra critical effect. Hitting a weak point can cause paralysis. Although a D rank cannot kill an S rank, a full-power paralysis strike should at least immobilize it for several seconds. Its speed is too fast. There wasn't enough time to create distance just now, but these few stolen seconds are enough for me to escape. Si Chen sprinted toward the pillar of light in the distance. Throughout the battle, he had been scanning the surroundings. There was only that single source of light. Just as his hand was about to touch the light, it suddenly vanished. Si Chen gasped, the light, it's gone. The territory lord sneered. Sorry, that was only an illusion I left behind. The exit you sought does not exist. This place is not a demon haunt at all. He continued, however, you quickly found the weakness in my attack. Interesting. Even when facing utter pressure, you calmly analyzed the situation and risked everything to find a sliver of hope. You truly are someone who can bring hope. A final message rang out. This place is the La Sa training purgatory. Si Chen stared in shock at his appearance. That form, he had seen it on Demon King Lan Yue. Si Chen wasted no time and slashed the electric blade toward La Sa. He suddenly recalled. This was from his previous life, during the final battle with Demon King Lan Yue. He had switched through countless powerful professions, from a fire system profession with devastating offensive firepower that incinerated everything, to a wood system profession where vines became binding weapons to entangle and strike foes, then to a thunder system profession, unleashing lightning around like a storm. Si Chen thought to himself, I remember very clearly. One of them was this very form, the current appearance of La Sa. He looked at him calmly as if viewing a defeated man. Si Chen realized the horrific truth. In other words, he was once swallowed by Lan Yue's violent devour power, and that violent devour power has now merged into me. He made a bold conjecture. Could it be that this place is actually inside my body? La Sa let out an approving chuckle. Not only is your combat ability excellent, but your mind is razor-sharp. He smiled. You deserve to take everything here. Si Chen asked in astonishment. Everything here. A key suddenly appeared in La Sa's hand. It emitted a faint glow, shimmering with ancient aura. He introduced. This is the Time Rift Key, SSS grade. It's the sole key to open the Demon Tower Gate. Lhasa continued. Lan Yue swallowed countless brutal fiends. The strongest among them were sealed inside the tower behind me. Devour them, grow continuously stronger, and turn them all into your power. The key hovered before him. Si Chen reached out to take it. The system immediately announced, received, Time Rift Key. He asked in puzzlement, "Why are you doing this? Why help me?" Lhasa explained in a low, hate-filled voice. "Among demonkind there is right and wrong. The demon kings slaughtered my entire clan for their selfish gains. I have always waited for a chance at revenge. Fortunately, I finally met you." He paused, then added, "That one was not wrong. You are the only hope. Only you can succeed." Si Chen hurriedly asked, "Who is that one?" Lhasa merely reminded him and began to fade. "The answers lie within this demon tower. Go find them yourself." He left a final line, "Carry my power and go avenge them." Si Chen, still confused, asked, "Carry your power?" Lasa's entire body slowly dissipated into smoke. Before fully vanishing, he said, "From now on, you must grow stronger. Open the Demon Tower Gate and devour everything inside the tower. Those fiends there will show you no mercy like I did. They are the craftiest, most vicious creatures in the world. But you must endure it all and defeat them all. You must stand atop the world. Finally tear those demon kings apart completely. Only then will you be worthy." Using his last strength, Lasa's body vanished entirely. Using his final power, Lasa's body dispersed completely. A pink stream of energy rose from the ashes toward Si Chen. He reached out and received it. System update, level up. Level 13, right arrow, level 14. Received, 2 Lhasa soul bones. Si Chen clenched his hand and whispered like a vow. "I understand. I will carry your part with me." Then he received a new card. Card. Lhasa Training Purgatory, 100-Bone Revenant. Absorb the physical strength of corpses and surrounding power, converting them into your own proportionally. Triad Reincarnation. Alter gravity to attack opponents in 3 modes: light, heavy, and ultra-heavy. Si Chen tightened his fist and vowed, "I will make them repay blood with blood." Now a new day began. Dawn light streamed through the dormitory window. A familiar call sounded, "Get up, everyone." Si Chen sat bolt upright. The upper bunk's blanket had been neatly folded. By the door, 2 classmates surnamed Xiang in uniform urged each other. "Make the most of time, don't be late. Today we must wear the school uniform." He blinked. "Have I returned to the dorm?" Si Chen quickly checked the wound on his shoulder. The cut had fully healed. Could it be that everything just now was only a dream? But when he looked at the system panel, he had a clear answer. The system proved everything truly happened. Moreover, all loot obtained in the dream now existed in reality. All that effort overnight, and I leveled up to level 10. What grade does that correspond to now? Xiang Zhu stepped in front of him, leaning down to jeer. "Someone praised you last night, huh? So you've become stronger now. You might even threaten my dorm's top spot." Ma Long stood frozen, not daring to make a sound, only nudging him secretly. "Let's go, the grade assessment is about to start. Let me see how many points and ounces you've got." Xiang Zhu bought a piece of bread, took a bite, and said contemptuously, "Our dorm seems all E rank, but don't forget each grade is subdivided. You lot are merely low E, while I'm mid E rank. Between subdivisions, the strength difference is manyfold. I could take on 10 of you. Understand? Maybe since they haven't checked in 2 years, my rank even rose already." Ma Long whispered a reminder. "Si Chen, later you must show your full power. Use that D rank to scare him to death." Si Chen smiled and asked back, "D rank?" Just as their group reached the assembly yard, Xiang Zhu had to exclaim in surprise, "Oh." On the big stage, the sign read clearly, "National Awaken a University Rank Assessment Ceremony." He eyed the crowded students curiously. "Everyone's here so early." Suddenly, Gong Cheng's people swaggered up, shoving as they went. "Move aside, don't touch me." Xiang Zhu recognized Gong Cheng's lackeys and quickly said, "We'd better keep our distance." From behind came Si Chen's cold voice, making him flinch, his face paling. "What are you looking at?" He stood behind Xiang Zhu, his demeanor icy cold. The 2 lackeys saw Si Chen, and their fur stood on end like frightened cats. They simultaneously bent at a 90-degree angle. "Big brother Si Chen, you're here." Xiang Zhu asked curiously, "Why are they so respectful to Si Chen? Could Ma Long's words be true?" Ma Long finally had a chance to boast. "Didn't I say so earlier?" Si Chen didn't bother to argue. He said nothing and kept walking. He stopped when someone blocked his path. Jiang Dai, the student council officer, stood with hands on his hips, his tone provocative. "I heard someone had a conflict with Gong Cheng yesterday. Do you know he's the biological younger brother of our respected student council president, Gong Ting?" Those nearby whispered in fear. "That's Jiang Dai, the student council officer." Xiang Zhu couldn't believe it. Isn't Jiang Dai just a lackey? He's a D-rank elder. How does he have connections to Si Chen? But something about the atmosphere feels off. Jiang Dai spoke up, voice full of sarcasm. You know what? My hearing is extremely sharp. I can sniff out the aura of a true powerhouse. He leaned close to Si Chen's ear and whispered. But on you, there is only the scent of poverty from a lifetime spent at society's bottom. Your words hit like a bucket of cold water, freezing Jiang Dai in place. Are you a dog? The man snapped angrily. What did you say? Gong Ting stepped forward, his voice steady as he warned. Jiang Dai, stop. He continued, sounding professional. I've already investigated the specifics. This incident was Gong Cheng's fault to begin with. If you make a mistake, you must pay the price. That's only fair. Jiang Dai withdrew his murderous intent and forced himself to bow. Yes, Chairman. He fell silent, assessing Si Chen across from him. Si Chen remained expressionless, watching his opponent without flinching. From the stage, the teacher standing by the large testing device announced, Attention students, the grade assessment is about to begin. We'll proceed by student card order. After your name is called, please come up to the stage in an orderly fashion. Gong Ting turned to Jiang Dai. Let's go, we're preparing for the grade assessment. Jiang Dai immediately put on a flattering expression and followed. Yes, sir, he thought to himself. Si Chen doesn't look threatening at all. On a nearby high-rise, Lin Vu watched the testing area below. Beside her, someone curious asked, Why are you interested in watching the grade test today? Found someone worth seeing. The other person chuckled. I predict this assessment could be very interesting. An hour later, it was finally your room's turn. An announcement rang out. Next grade tester, Xiang Zhu. From below came cheers. Come on, Xiang Zhu, little brother. He stepped forward and inserted his hand into the machine. Let's see my true strength. The testing device activated and needed a moment to run. The grade assessment is conducted inside a specially designed demon chamber containing a core of demon heart, an energy nucleus that absorbs power. The awakener must release all their energy before the demon heart. The energy detected by the demon heart is transmitted outward through cables and finally displayed as data on the large screen. The final result appeared, grade, mid-E tier. The teacher asked in surprise, recording complete. Haven't the other data been released yet? Ma Long exclaimed excitedly, it's out. Next is the most important part. Si Chen thought. Besides the current grade, it measures another metric, potential. This indicates the highest grade this profession could reach in the future. Those with high potential often attract special attention from the state. The final announcement read, test complete. Current grade, mid-E tier. Maximum potential, C. Xiang Zhu slumped away. Looks like my grade hasn't improved in 2 years. I thought I'd break into D, the teacher called on. Next grade tester, Ma Long. Ma Long stepped up to console his friend. Relax, Xiang Zhu. We're worse off anyway. He said cheerfully, you're not the only one who didn't make D, aren't we all the same? Next was Xiang Yu, barrier, grade test, low E tier. Potential, C then Xiang Zhu. Barrier, grade test, mid-E tier. Potential, C Ma Long said confidently. There aren't many DS at this school. Maybe there won't be any this year. Suddenly an announcement shocked the three. Test complete. Current grade, low D tier. Strongest potential, B. Someone ran out in excitement. The whole hall erupted. The first D of the year has appeared. A moment later, Jiang Dai walked out from the testing area. The announcement continued. Test complete. Current grade, low D tier. Highest potential, A. Ma Long covered his face, unable to look. That's the 8th D already. 2 teachers murmured. So many D-tier talents have appeared this year. Although they're all lower tier, that's very good for students without real combat experience. Indeed, normally a graduating class has at most 2 or 3 D-tier students. Given this trend, this year's graduation assessment promises to be very interesting. An announcement rang out. Next grade tester, Gong Ting. Gong Ting calmly approached the testing machine. Everyone watched in anticipation. Finally, it's his turn. The student council president, also the Imperial Guild's golden boy, a chosen scion holding countless titles. Among them, Si Chen waited quietly. Whispers rose beside him. I heard he only got D in the test 2 years ago. The highest grade recorded so far in this cohort is low D. The school's historical top was mid-D. I wonder how far he can go. The eye inside the testing chamber slightly opened upon seeing the entrant. Gong Ting's hand slowly touched the demon heart. He thought to himself, only by showing my full strength in the graduation combat test can I make the greatest splash. For now, I must restrain some of my power. Even so, I will still be the top of the school's history. The grade and potential display gradually lit up in brilliant white and gold. The teacher asked curiously, that color. The final result appeared. Everyone screamed in horror. Top tier D grade, peak potential S. Jiang Dai shouted, The record holder in the school's history. No wonder the president is immortal. Our school produced someone with S-tier potential. I'm so jealous. We've witnessed history. The group of teachers discussed. The result is accurate. Top-tier D, S-tier potential. Should we notify the higher-ups directly? Of course. One teacher explained. An awakener with S-tier potential is a rare treasure worldwide. They require special attention and protection from the state, especially since he's a noble scion of the Imperial Guild. This news will certainly make the national headlines. On the upper floor, the person beside Lin Vu praised. Today's test truly revealed a talent. You already suspected Gong Ting was an S-tier candidate, right? No wonder you came to watch the show today. Lin Vu denied it gently. No, I didn't come because of him. She smiled slightly, eyes directed below. I'm placing my trust in someone else. I expect his performance more than Gong Ting's. The announcement rang clearly. Next grade tester, Si Chen. The person Lin Vu had been waiting for finally took his turn. Jiang Dai brushed past him, not forgetting to threaten. You punk, you must try your best to bring honor to our dorm. He sneered. When you get your result later, don't be a low E, all right. Then your dorm will be filled with 4 E-tier students from low to mid. It's ridiculous to be top of the school. Jiang Dai mocked their whole room. You weaklings will only be humiliated when you take the graduation combat test. Ma Long, full of confidence, shouted. Just wait, Si Chen will definitely make you eat your words. On stage, he stepped into the testing gate. Outside, Xiang Zhuo asked anxiously, Si Chen, can he really do it? He calmly stepped toward the eye suspended amid the tangled cables. It opened slightly, watching the next person enter. Si Chen's eyes flashed a fierce red. His hand reached forward. More than anyone, he knew that in this era the best path for an awakener's advancement was to join a high-level guild. For most people, the only opportunity to demonstrate strength before the top guilds is the graduation combat assessment. This test allows up to 10 people per team, and candidates are free to choose members. The winning team will have all members selected and directly recruited by top Imperial guilds nationwide. Thus, the test not only determines grade but plays a crucial role. It decides each person's future. Outside, Jiang Dai excitedly announced, Big boss, this is Yan Lin, lower D tier. He went on and on. Now our 10-person team is complete. All 9 lower D tier members are on our team. Once Gong Cheng, your younger brother, joins, our team will surely top the graduation combat. The final MVP will definitely be you, the president. Si Chen understood this principle. This was the teammate selection for the graduation combat. Under these conditions, the strongest team would surely form, and the weakest team as well. The strong band together, and the weak are cast aside and eliminated. This is the immutable law of survival. Ma Long waited so long his eyes twitched. How long has Si Chen been in there? His display still shows nothing. Why is there no sign at all? Someone jeered. Si Chen's power is probably too weak to register a grade. The test is essentially over. Come on, let's go back to the dorm. Jiang Dai egged them on. The rest are surely trash. You don't need to wait. Our team is full. Let's find a karaoke place. Gong Ting reminded them to call the team members together. Suddenly, the front display began to update. Si Chen's grade appeared, top D tier. The announcement stunned everyone into silence. Ma Long shouted excitedly, Top tier D, see, I told you so, wasn't I right? Jiang Dai was shocked. What top tier D? A system notice chimed. Grade assessment complete. Result. Top tier D, the program detected the demon heart was unstable. The result may be inaccurate. Candidate requested to retest. Si Chen calculated. Just now I used my normal body without changing profession. It seems a level 10's base strength equals top tier D. The display updated. Changing profession. Profession change complete. It showed he was now flipping to the Tang Xiao King card. Si Chen was eager. Next, I'll test using my weakest current profession. Outside, his grade display began to shift. It read mid-C tier. This shocked everyone even more. What's going on? Si Chen's grade just rose again. Jiang Dai felt like he'd seen things wrong today. C tier. That's absurd. There must be an error somewhere. Even the teacher couldn't understand. I've never seen this before. Where is the system failing? The notice repeated. The program detected the demon heart is unstable. Results may be inaccurate. Candidate requested to retest. Si Chen continued to try confidently. If so, my other 2 professions should both be above C. The display kept updating. Changing profession. Profession change complete. Finally, he flipped to the card of Inferno Lasat. Next, I'll test my maximum strength a bit. The card displayed Lasat's information. The testing eye suddenly bulged as if overloaded. It instantaneously transformed into a spiraling vortex of air. A cyclone accompanied by roaring lightning power rose into the sky. The students, seeing the sky black as apocalypse, panicked. What is happening? Xiang Zhu clasped his hands and prayed. A heavenly omen. Today will surely go down in our dormitory's history. An earth-shattering great figure will appear. His grade and potential display continued to shift. The final announcement, potential S-tier. The teacher gaped. Another S-tier potential. Gong Ting also stared tense and unblinking. Due to overload, the system issued a warning. The S on the screen began to fade, accompanied by a mechanical notice. Warning, system error. 3 S's kept flashing on the display. Potential score cannot be determined. System maximum load exceeded. The teacher's face turned ashen purple. The screen exploded, shattering into pieces. He hurried inside, shouting, "Danger! The demon heart is overloaded. Go check it." The students, unaware of what happened, followed the 2 teachers in. The teacher asked, "Student, are you all right?" Approaching Si Chen, the teacher froze, staring at what lay below. The eye had withered, gray, and lifeless. The teacher, shocked, "The demon heart is dead." He sat down to examine it. Could it have died from overuse today? Si Chen looked at the displayed screen, thinking, I may have used too much force carelessly and killed the demon heart, but it gave me an unexpected delight. A new notice updated. Assimilation successful. Demon heart spirit lung, grade A, can detect threat power grades within a 100 m radius and issue danger alerts if a threat is detected. Si Chen himself was surprised. The Force Devour skill can actually assimilate the demon heart's power. He calmly stepped out of the testing gate. Si Chen's eyes flashed a green light. The demon heart spirit lung was activating. He scanned the people in the yard, their grades displayed above their heads. Si Chen quietly rejoiced. Now I can see everyone's grade. This is convenient. He saw Gong Ting at mid-C tier. It turned out Gong Ting had been hiding his true strength. Mid-C tier, quite ordinary. At that moment the teacher stepped out, cleared his throat. What a pity. The demon core seems to have expended too much and died suddenly. Today's test must be suspended. Si Chen's test data may be flawed. We will report this to the authorities. Students who haven't been tested may return tomorrow. We will prepare a new device. The group rushed to Si Chen, fawning and cheering. I don't care, the data is definitely accurate. Our Si Chen is certainly a genius, a great man. What do you want to eat today? Or shall we head back to the dorm? Jiang Dai regained his composure and sneered. I told you, how could a failure like you reach C tier? And S tier potential too. Clearly the testing device malfunctioned. He accused him. Now you've destroyed the demon heart and want to leave. Isn't that utterly irresponsible? You made the other student council members wait until tomorrow to be tested. Can you ever make up for the wasted time? Electric currents faintly flickered across Si Chen's palm. He grew deadly serious. This guy will never stop. Maybe we should cripple him. Gong Ting from behind scowled and warned. Jiang Dai, step back. Don't mistreat our teammate like that. Hearing that, the man seemed stunned into silence. Gong Ting smiled and held out his hand. Si Chen, join my team. Let's enter the graduation combat assessment together. The highest score in history will surely be ours. Si Chen coldly stared at the hand reaching toward him. The onlookers in the distance were shocked. Gong Ting. He personally invited Si Chen to join his team. Jiang Dai panicked inwardly. If this guy really joins, someone on our team will have to be kicked out. How do I explain this to the others? Joining Gong Ting's team basically guarantees first place in the graduation exam. All the bribes and scrambling from the brothers couldn't get them in. What does he rely on? Before he could figure out a counter, Gong Ting calmly but confidently spoke. Join my team. We'll enter the graduation combat assessment together. The highest score in history will belong to us. Jiang Dai's hand trembled as he prepared to clap Si Chen's shoulder to show goodwill. He forced an ugly smile. If that's the case, welcome aboard. Smack, Si Chen sharply pushed the hand away, his voice icy cold. Not interested. Jiang Dai froze, stunned by the blunt rejection. Gong Ting slightly frowned at the unexpected move. Jiang Dai immediately flew into a rage, pointing and roaring. You, kid, do you know what you're saying? Our team's strength is #1 in the whole school. Si Chen cut him off unfazed. None of my business. You're too loud, don't bother me again. He turned and coolly told Ma Long and Xiang Zhuo. Let's go home. Jiang Dai behind them was furious, his face red and purple as he ground his teeth. Those nearby whispered, Si Chen actually dared to refuse Gong Ting. Does he have the nerve? That's the student council president. Or does he want to take the top spot himself? Anyway, his test result was mid-C tier. This will sure make for drama later. Ma Long and Xiang Zhuo murmured. Did you see their expressions? They look murderous. He was arrogant in front of us earlier. Si Chen is too bold. Gong Ting smiled faintly, voice calm. It's fine. It seems our brother Si Chen has his own way of thinking. From the high-rise building, Yuan Lung sighed in regret. What a pity. Those two can't form a team. I was hoping we'd set a new record this year. Lin Vu replied indifferently. This actually makes it more interesting. From birth, Gong Ting has had a golden spoon in his mouth. This refusal is a direct declaration of war. Our president, he's not someone easy to deal with. In the yard, Jiang Dai still angrily shouted. Only a faulty test would make him stand out, and he actually thinks he's C-tier. Gong Ting coldly watched Si Chen's retreating back and lowered his voice. What if the test isn't wrong? Even if there's 1 in a million chance, I will never allow anyone else to take my #1 position. He grabbed Jiang Dai's collar, voice dropping. No matter what, he's just a student with no real combat experience. We are the elites who have secretly followed you into countless real fights against the specters. Jiang Dai nodded repeatedly, eyes flashing with ferocity. How about I teach him a lesson in your place? Gong Ting frowned. Do you see me as that petty? Jiang Dai hurriedly denied. No, I didn't mean that. Gong Ting released his grip and turned to leave. I'm not in the mood for singing today. You and the others arrange yourselves. Then he deliberately added, whatever you do has nothing to do with me. Jiang Dai grinned, instantly grasping the implication. Understood. It won't have anything to do with you at all. A while later, Jiang Dai got news from a subordinate. Brother Jiang, Si Chen isn't on campus. The subordinate kowtowed and replied. Yes, sir. I overheard. He said he wanted to go home for a bit, left campus without even eating. Jiang Dai rejoiced. Heavens are helping me. It's easier for me to deal with him outside the school. Si Chen was leisurely walking home. At that moment, memories from his previous life surged back. A Peak Guild expedition, while raiding a specter den in the Holy River territory, ran into an unexpected ambush. Inside the den, they encountered a powerful demon never seen before. Fury Incarnate. The entire guild expedition was wiped out. Fury Incarnate emerged from the den and descended into the mortal world. That was all the information he remembered from his past life. In this life, to quickly pinpoint the specter den where Fury Incarnate resides, he devised a plan. And to execute the plan, Si Chen stopped in front of the Bai Yin artifact exchange. He knew clearly he needed a large sum of money. Bai Yin would become the country's largest artifact exchange in the future. Weapons and gear are the decisive factors in an awakener's true power. The exchange is the essential transit point for buying and selling equipment, and the quickest way for him to earn money right now. Si Chen placed a few Tang Xiao fangs on the counter. The clerk picked them up to inspect, surprised. Student, where did you get these? Si Chen replied tersely, dropped by a specter. The man curiously asked, why have I never seen these before? The female clerk beside him whispered. If I recall correctly, these are drops from the Tang Xiao cloud-type beast, grade E. The fangs of Tang Xiao. Records say Tang Xiao fangs can be forged into a cloud-type staff of grade E or ground into powder. He cut her off. All right, stop the lecture. What can you even make from a grade E item? Our exchange caters to VIPs. Participants are high-status Awakener clients. Everything I sell is high-end, grade D and above. Those petty grade E items being unfamiliar to me is normal. He thought to himself, high-end customers have been too scarce lately. At this rate, when will I be promoted to manager? What bad luck, always dealing with troublesome people who bring no profit. Better to pass them off to the new staff. He left his post and called. You there, Xiao Li? I'll hand the remaining transactions to you. Do it well, I trust you. The female clerk took the money and handed it to Si Chen. Here is your payment, please accept. Do you need any further assistance? Si Chen looked at the bill. 10,000, enough for now to cover the rent. He pulled a massive greatsword out of his storage space and set it on the counter. Then next, please evaluate this weapon for me. The female clerk exclaimed in astonishment. A greatsword? So badass. She glanced over and marveled. Although I've never seen one like it, I feel it must be at least grade B, no, maybe even grade A. The clerk returned, glanced over and sneered. Grade A? What are you thinking? Grade A weapons on the market cost 1 million. How long have you worked here without ever touching one? From afar, someone interjected, calm yet authoritative. He's right. This obviously isn't a B or A grade piece. The clerk immediately kowtowed. It's the sharp eye of the boss. The man who spoke looked at the greatsword and murmured. This clearly comes from hell. It's an S-grade equipment. The two clerks were stunned. S-grade. The boss, Qingzhai, hurriedly grabbed Si Chen's hand, and his enthusiasm was unusually excessive. Welcome, esteemed guest. Honored to have you. Please follow me to the VIP room. He led him away, saying as they walked, if you need anything, tell me. Si Chen was secretly delighted. Finally, he has appeared. Qingzhai, this man was Qingzhai, the owner of the Bai Yin Guild. After they sat down for tea, Qingzhai asked, May I ask, what are your plans for this item? Si Chen replied in a single sentence, 1 million. The answer surprised Qingzhai. Only 1 million. You must know that A-grade equipment on the market reaches hundreds of thousands to millions, An S-grade weapon like this is worth at least tens of millions. It's priceless. Thousands would scramble for it. Despite the warning, the protagonist remained firm. I want to use this S-grade equipment as collateral to borrow 1 million. I'll retrieve it in 1 month. The more he listened, the more astonished Qingzhai became. He thought, using an S-grade item as collateral, could that be an idea a college student would come up with? It seemed he didn't intend to sell it, but to use it himself later. Mature beyond his years, capable of acquiring such a rare piece, a runaway heir, a hidden super genius. In short, this person was definitely not simple. Unaware of Qingzhai's thoughts, the young man continued with his terms. Only 1 month. When the time's up, I'll pay back immediately. I'll also pay an extra 10% interest after a month. How about that? At this, Qingzhai didn't rush to agree. He ordered the girl beside him. Xiao Li, please step outside for a moment. After she left, Qingzhai's expression changed as he said, if I'm not mistaken, the school you attend must be the National Awakeners Academy. Moreover, studying at the National Awakeners Academy means there's an annual graduation combat assessment. This year's test is in 1 month, and the first place prize just so happens to be 1 million, exactly matching the amount you're borrowing. I'm boldly guessing you've already secured first place in that exam. Si Chen remained silent, only quietly observing him. Qingzhai stood as well and continued his speculation. Clearly you can get the prize money in a month, but you're rushing to pawn a valuable item to borrow cash now. That means you truly need the money immediately, and likely have been cornered into this last resort, right? If that's the case, I can immediately lend you 1.5 million cash, and for 1 month the interest will be 0. Consider it me making friends with you, he said cheerfully. The man's generosity made Si Chen's face go blank, not knowing what to say. Qingzhai winked mischievously and assured, rest assured, I will absolutely keep today's matters confidential. However, if in the future you have any new trading needs, please consider using our exchange first. I'll give you the best discount possible. How does that sound? Turning to Si Chen, he couldn't help but admire Qingzhai's eye for people. He thought, from a few hints he deduced my situation and needs. Very clever. Knowing my hardship, instead of exploiting me, he offered better terms to seek long-term cooperation. No wonder he would one day make Bai Yin the world's top exchange. If he wants to defeat Fury Incarnate, he can't rely on just himself. So first he needs to find some trustworthy allies to cooperate with. Cheerfully, he shook hands with him. Next, after signing a contract, Si Chen's account immediately received 1.5 million. Qingzhai also smiled and said, the contract is complete and the money has been transferred to your bank account. As he said that, as if remembering something, he added, also, since you've pawned such a fine weapon, what will you use for the graduation test? Do you need me to lend you some gear? We don't have S-grade equipment right now, but we do have plenty of high-end B and even a grade gear. In response, Si Chen gently declined, no need. I still have another weapon like the one just now. With that, he produced a blade identical to the previous one. Si Chen possessing 2 S-grade weapons at once made the 3 bystanders break out in a cold sweat. Holy crap, what is this? Someone shouted. Thankfully, Qingzhai quickly regained his composure and saw the protagonist off. Truly a young hero. Then he turned to his 2 shouting subordinates. Thanks to Xiao Li for keeping this precious guest, promote her to front manager immediately. Ahead, as Si Chen was walking, he suddenly stopped and said, oh right, I want to buy some items. It was unclear what he purchased. Time passed. After leaving the exchange, Si Chen went to the long-distance train station of Changshan County. Looking at the scene before him, he quietly reflected. In his previous life, money plagued him for a long time. At that time, he had just graduated and hadn't awakened, so no one would hire him. He had to do all sorts of odd jobs to earn enough to pay rent and living expenses. He had to live as frugally as possible, even when he received an admission notice from the International Central Academy of Arts. He quietly tore it into pieces for fear of becoming a burden to his family. Thus, his younger sister even gave up her dream of attending high school and returned to reality. Si Chen turned left and right as if searching for something. It wasn't early anymore. Xiao Yun should have been waiting here already, right? Suddenly, a familiar voice called from behind. Brother, I've told you several times, if you want to pick me up, come to the exit, not the entrance. Are you spaced out from being so busy again? Si Yun complained as she dragged her suitcase. The familiar figure made Si Chen's gaze freeze, but Si Yun seemed unaware of the oddity and continued to nag. Big brother, why don't you help me carry my luggage? Hey brother, why are you daydreaming? She called out again. When she saw Si Chen didn't respond, the protagonist suddenly pulled his sister into a tight embrace, leaving the girl slightly embarrassed. For some reason, only Si Chen knew the whole truth. 7 years have passed and he finally met her again. Xiao Yun, he murmured. His affectionate actions made his younger sister angry, and she jabbed her fingertips straight into his ribs. Hey, are you trying to crush your sister to death? Why have you been so weird these past 2 days? Did some girl reject your confession? As she spoke, she tossed the bag to Si Chen. He replied awkwardly, no, it's not that. Then hurry up and go home. Si Yun shouted. With that, the siblings happily headed home. Behind them, Si Chen watched his sister's figure with affectionate eyes and silently vowed to himself, in this life, I will never let you suffer any injustice again. Elsewhere, Jiang Dai was quietly plotting how to deal with Si Chen and Si Yun. He instructed his lackeys. This is the road that kid always takes home. We'll ambush him and once he shows himself, attack him at once. Make him taste a little of the consequences of provoking me. Beside him, a henchman hurriedly objected. Boss Jiang Dai, many brothers from the student guild are here. If we go too far, wouldn't that let him talk his way out? But Jiang Dai nearly snarled. Huh, I only plan to teach him a lesson, but that brat's attitude is unbearable. Those bottom-tier E-rank scum think they're C-rank. How dare they touch my stuff? As for him, I'll make sure he can't take the graduation exam in 2 weeks. I'm one of the school's top Yun-type assassins, unrivaled. I'll knock that show-off kid out. As he spoke, he produced a mysteriously cold dagger and turned toward the spot where Si Chen and Lan Yue were. While walking, Si Yun couldn't help worrying about her brother. Brother, you've been acting strange these 2 days. Is it the pressure of the upcoming graduation exam? After all, a homebound guy like you shouldn't be so entangled by emotions. Brother, no matter what, perk up. Didn't you once tell me? Life is long, opportunity will come sooner or later. What's that song again? Believe in yourself and... She sang cheerfully. Her carefree demeanor made Si Chen feel a bit happier. He thought, Xiao Yun is perceptive. She noticed something different right away. She still doesn't know she's awakened, so she thinks we're still living frugally as before. Thinking that, he smiled and said, I'm really fine, Xiao Yun. Contrary to his thoughts, Si Yun was full of suspicion. Is he staying silent now for a man's dignity? Men begin to build walls around themselves at a certain age. Yeah, the books were right. Looks like Big Brother has reached that age. At that moment, behind them, Jiang Dai's group silently trailed them. One of them, after identifying the targets, said, Boss, that brat has a little sister with him. Hearing that, Jiang Dai's eyes lit up with glee. Isn't that perfect? This alley has no cameras. Brothers were in luck this time, he said happily, unaware that in that very instant Si Chen had sensed the presence of the entire group. This aura. They were members of the student guild, and yet dared to come all the way here. Without a moment's hesitation, he took out a pair of earbuds, placed them into his sister's ears, and instructed her. Xiao Yun, there's a song I've been listening to a lot recently. I keep replaying it. Listen for a bit, okay? On her side, Si Yun didn't suspect a thing. Oh, since when did you start liking music? After saying that, she thought to herself. Not bad, music can convey a person's emotions. Then let me understand you, a little big brother. Back to Si Chen. While Si Yun was enjoying the music, he was also preparing to deal with Jiang Dai's men. In his eyes, the power rankings of Jiang Dai's crew immediately appeared above their heads. While Si Yun was still listening, the armed group all lunged forward to attack. The protagonist also began to go mad. He reminded himself, in my previous life in 2160, I lost my last relative. In 2167, I was reborn and returned. Finally, I met my sister again. This is the reunion with family after 7 years. And you guys dare to come here and cause trouble. Immediately, he charged straight at the ringleader, sending the man's body flying backward like a torn sack. But it wasn't over. Instantly, Si Chen concentrated power into his fist, aiming at some long-haired guy and terrifying him completely. Before that man could react, the protagonist moved like lightning, instantly taking him down along with 2 men behind him. He delivered a knee strike straight into the red-shirted man's body, sending him flying backward. Another black-shirted thug, seeing this, clenched his fist and rushed in. However, his punch was easily caught by Si Chen. Next, he quickly executed an elbow strike that shattered the black-shirted man's arm bone. The pain made him cry uncontrollably. My arm, he stammered. Before he could finish, he took a full punch to the face. His body flew backward like a cannonball. By now, Jiang Dai could no longer keep his composure. Panicked, he thought, oh shit. What's wrong with this kid? Why is he so strong? Number 54 asked when he saw Si Chen rush toward him. Si Chen continued to use his strength and speed advantage, quickly throwing punches that took out all the henchmen. Finally, riding the momentum, he came straight in front of Jiang Dai. In front, the guild leader was terrified. He had to shout to psych himself up. I am a top-tier Yun assassin. You think you can beat me? With that, he thrust the dagger in his hand forward. However, Si Chen's punch was far faster. With a single punch, He snapped Jiang Dai's face askew and sent him flying like a dead dog. Not stopping there, Si Chen used his speed to close in while the man was still airborne, and delivered a finishing blow straight to his jaw. The hit smashed his teeth and lips together. Once again, his battered body spun like a top into the distance, only stopping when it slammed into something. At this point, Jiang Dai's vision had become blurred. The protagonist stepped up to him and spoke in a voice full of menace. "I clearly told you not to provoke me. Are you not able to understand human language?" Over here, Qong Ditch was so terrified he felt like he might pee his pants. He kept regretting it. His bones were all broken, his legs had gone numb. The test results were real. To Tran, he absolutely wasn't a D-level. Thinking that, he weakly said, I'm sorry." Not letting him say another word, the male lead immediately dragged him close, pressed a knife to his face, and warned, "Shut up. Say one more word and I'll kill you right here." Tu Tran's decisive action made Qong Ditch even more terrified. His eyes didn't lie. He really would kill him. He was clearly just a student, so why did he exude such murderous intent? What on earth was his background? Qong Ditch panicked, thinking, before Tu Tran glared and warned him again. "Next, remember every single word I say carefully. You can do whatever you want, stink up the place however you like, but don't bother me anymore. If any of you dare threaten my sister's safety again, no, even if you just show up within my sister's sight, I'll count one guy for each offender. I won't hesitate to make him disappear forever. Understand?" Faced with his threat, Qong Ditch could only sob and nod in agreement. Seeing that, the male lead was satisfied, tossed the knife aside and turned to walk away. Meanwhile, his sister Tu Van had no idea what had just happened and was simply enjoying the song. Suddenly, tears streamed down her face. She felt so lonely. Why did this song make her want to cry? Only a few days had passed, but he acted like he'd been through so much. Was he really that lonely? Wasn't I always by his side? Thinking that, Tu Van pulled out her earphones and shouted, "Hey, that trick is downright annoying." Behind her, the male lead stood there with a smile. He took out a small pen case and said, "Tiny Van, here's a little gift for you." Looking at the golden pen gleaming and glittering, Tu Van's eyes widened in surprise. "This is a full-power magic pen? The latest model launched by Dorag Corporation. This thing costs tens of thousands. Where did you get it? Shouldn't we return it? It's so expensive. I don't really like accepting pricey things," she said awkwardly, but couldn't hide her delight. As for Tu Tran, he silently promised himself, "In my past life, I couldn't protect you well. I failed to protect your dreams. In this life, I will protect everything of yours." Behind them, the thugs who'd been beaten were trying to clamp their mouths shut to stifle any cries of pain, afraid of attracting Tu Tran's attention. Time passed quickly. Cut to Tu Tran's home, where Tu Van was trying out the new pen. She drew a purple fish floating in midair. "This is so useful. It can create 3D images from thin air." Beside her, Tu Tran slurped his noodles and happily replied, "As long as you like it, Tiny Van. As expected, your egg noodles are still the best." Turning to Tu Van, though pleased, she was a bit regretful. "But we still have to pay rent. You spent so much." Before she could say more, Tu Tran cut her off. "I've already paid this year's rent in full." This news left Tu Van stunned. Realizing he'd slipped up, he hurriedly explained, "Oh, well, my friend and I did a bit of business and earned a little." Of course, his lie couldn't easily convince Tu Van. Her brother was basically terrible at lying. Very suspicious. Great, now he even has secrets from me. But that cheerful face, it had been a long time since she'd seen that smile on her brother's face. Thinking that, she gently placed a hand on Tu Tran's shoulder and whispered, "Could it be? Brother, no matter what you've been through, don't force yourself, okay?" Tu Tran turned back and silently nodded in agreement. In another scene, inside the room, Kung Din's voice rang out. "He's badly injured this time. 6 parts of his bones are completely shattered. Even the best healers won't be able to get him fully recovered within a month." I didn't expect he'd actually go looking for Tu Tran and end up like this. Nearby, Lin Vu sipped her tea cheerfully and replied, "Looks like he's going to miss the graduation exam." Hearing her, Kung Din seemed unconcerned. "No big deal. My team's only losing an extra member whose skills aren't up to par anyway." At that moment, a man also entered the room. His name was Kung Hyan, the head of the Career Development Office at the National Awakening University. He said, "It's that name again, Tu Tran. I've already confirmed the internal ranking test results. He really is rank C. He's the only person in the entire school with a rank higher than you." At that, even Kung Din was a little surprised and looked over to observe. Seeing this, Kung Hyan continued to explain, "This time your father invited the Alliance Vice President to attend your graduation performance in person, so no one can steal your spotlight. But if it truly can't be helped, then I can only have my granddaughter take the vacant position in the palace team." In response, Kung Din said something that surprised Kung Hyan. You're overthinking it, uncle. Do they really think I gave my all during evaluation? Don't worry, wait until the live combat test. I'll show everyone who truly is the strongest. Cut to Tu Tran. While showering, he reviewed his schedule. Today's 100 km heavy carry training completed. The immediate financial issue is resolved. Things are going smoothly. After graduation, he can start the official plan. The next task is to smoothly obtain the top prize of 1 million from the graduation exam, and then pay off Than Kai's debt. He must honor the contract with Than Kai. In short, he still needs many favors from him in the future. There's still 1 month until the exam. He needs to level up several more ranks. With that, Tu Tran once again closed his eyes. The system screen displayed a message. System initializing. Violent system initializing. The familiar red scene appeared before Tu Tran. He slowly walked toward the tall tower, thinking non-stop. Previous test results showed that the Tang Zio Wang profession, his weakest, could reach rank C. As for the Ma Sat Training Hell specialty, its rank failed to display successfully. Although Ma Sat Training Hell is S rank, he couldn't unleash its full power before, so he didn't know how much strength he could release. Thus the corresponding ranks for the other two professions remain unclear. Thinking that, he took out a key. It was the Temporal Rift Key, SSS rank, a key to open the Demon Tower gate. As soon as the key appeared, the gate before him began to slowly open. I have to test it a bit today. I wonder what the scene inside the Demon Tower will be like. With that, he quickly stepped inside. Then, when he appeared on the other side, the sight before Tu Tran surprised him a little, and he said, "This place is." After stepping out of the gate, Tu Tran found himself in a place called the Drifting Star Wasteland. The moment his foot touched this land, his whole body sank as if something heavy pressed down on him. He kept coughing and then said, "The gravity here is insane. The entrance gate has already disappeared. We probably have to defeat the boss of this floor to reopen it. In an environment like this, at best I can only use 30% of my strength. I need to figure out how to adapt quickly." Those were Tu Tran's calculations. However, right in front of him, the shape of a purple lion appeared. It was a phantasmal life lion. Seeing his opponent, Tu Tran immediately switched his profession to assassin with an electric attribute. He clenched a bolt of lightning in his hand, stared at the foe, and murmured, "Are you this guy's enemy?" Across from him, the phantasmal life lion said nothing and lunged to attack immediately. Fortunately, Tu Tran reacted quickly. He bent and slid forward, easily dodging the attack. Right after, he used the skill Frenzied Strike, turned and attacked at lightning speed. Tu Tran kept reminding himself, "My body is too heavy, I must finish this fast." With his overwhelming speed, Tu Tran drove the lightning into the lion's neck. However, because he didn't hit a weak point, the paralysis effect failed. Tu Tran's eyes widened in surprise. Missed. The high gravity here is hugely affecting my speed and accuracy. The assassin profession has almost lost its advantage. Yet this monster is so calm and unfazed. Is this the level of monsters in the Demon Tower's purgatory? Thinking that, Tu Tran reached forward to block its bite, and quickly switched his profession to Purgatory Slaughter. Purple flames began to rise from his body. Then I'll switch to Purgatory Slaughter. The core advantages of each profession differ. Melee unarmed combat doesn't have to rely on a warrior's extra strength and extreme stamina. Stack the gravity to the max so the impact force on descent is amplified. With the boost from this profession, Tu Tran immediately struggled. He slammed the phantasmal life lion's body down into the ground, so hard that the earth cracked into many pieces. Not stopping there, he poured power into his fist. In the already high-gravity environment of this floor, the force of his punch was amplified 60-fold. Below, the phantasmal life lion seemed to feel fear. Then Tu Tran's earth-shattering punch came down straight. He shouted, "Don't you dare stop me. This is the Skill Stellar Battle Life. Triple General Heavy Rebirth in Super Heavy mode." With that punch's power, the ground was churned into unrecognizable ruin. Time passed quickly. When the dust settled, on the surface was a deep pit, and the phantasmal life lion's head had been smashed to pieces. The system notification appeared. "You have obtained the phantasmal life lion's bone. You gained 12,000 experience points. Level increased from 10 to 11. Over here, the protagonist was still lying there panting like an ox from exhaustion, thinking non-stop. Each star on a card represents an attribute increment. The more stars, the stronger the boost after switching professions. Purgatory Slaughter has more stars, so its overall increase is higher. The post-switch combat rank should be slightly better than the Assassin Electric type. But earlier I had to go all out just to deal with a B-rank monster. It seems these two professions of mine still can't surpass rank B right now." At that moment, Tu Tran suddenly felt a chill as he realized something. Come to think of it, why did the system not display any absorbable drops after defeating the monster this time? Moreover, the door to the next floor didn't appear. Could it be that? A dangerous thought began to form in his mind. Sure enough, just as he suspected, a spatial rift opened up behind him. From inside, pairs of gleaming eyes could be clearly seen staring at Tu Tran. Tu Tran hurriedly turned around, slightly panicked. Could the real boss still not have appeared? The thing I just risked my life to deal with was only a random mob. At the same time, countless phantasmal life lions began to burst out of the rift at extremely high speed. Before Tu Tran could react, one of them bit down hard on his arm. The others seized the opportunity and rushed in to tear at him relentlessly. In that moment, Tu Tran finally understood the true meaning of the words. Purgatory Slaughter says, once the gate opens, what fills it is endless suffering, but you must bear it all, and you must defeat everything. After who knows how long, our protagonist suddenly bolted upright in bed, his whole body sweating profusely from the tension. The pains he'd experienced moments ago seemed no less real. Muscles torn, bones dislocated, the dream's agony horrifyingly vivid. There are no shortcuts to getting stronger. This lonely, arduous path to the abyss has only just begun. Time passed quickly. Today was Friday, May 20, 2157, in the Grand Hall of the National Awakener University. All students were present. Of course, Kung Hyen, as head of the affairs office, could not be absent. Among the students, a brown-haired guy spoke up. Hey guys, hear this. I heard high-ranking officials from the Alliance Guild will watch the graduation live combat assessment in person. Those next to him understood and said, no wonder the graduation assessment rules were all changed this year. In previous years, there were no minimum requirements for team size and ranks, but this time each team must have at least 5 members, and at least one of them must be upper-tier E rank. Another student hearing this asked, is that to make it more entertaining? Who knows, someone replied. Turning to Kung Hyen, as if it were time, he began to speak. All students of this cohort have been assigned to your wristbands. Please check your wristbands and quickly form your teams. Hearing this, everyone hurriedly checked their wristbands. A holographic screen displaying everyone's names and ranks appeared. However, Long's friend quickly noticed something odd and urgently said, that's not right. Tu Tran, why are you only showing as lower-tier E rank? Not just them, other students also noticed the problem and whispered to each other. That guy Tu Tran, he showed rank C during the test, so how did he become lower-tier E? Whispers and murmurs began to rise. So the testing machine really was broken before. If I hadn't squeezed into President Kung Din's team, I would have paired with Tu Tran. Who would have guessed he's only lower-tier E? Now that's great. Surely no one wants to team up with him anymore. The graduation assessment is that important. Who wants to carry low-tier dead weight? Tu Tran must be regretting not accepting Kung Din's invitation, back then to death. Over here, Kung Din's female cousin said nothing, staring fixedly at her uncle. Kung Hyen also wore a smug smile, thinking to himself, my estranged nephew, when will you finally learn how to really exploit power and people's nature? Let me teach you. Your rival won't even qualify to compete. Ignoring the buzzing crowd, the teacher's reminder rang out. Students, please keep track of time and form your teams quickly. Sure enough, right after that, the 8 students swarmed to Kung Din begging to be his lackeys. President Kung Din, please let me join your team. Pick me. President, I'm a 3rd year. I promise I won't drag you down. Captain, my medic Zhang Enhan can definitely be a huge help to the team. Honorable President, let me be your dog. The pleas grew so loud that one of Kung Din's cronies snapped and shouted, Shut up! Move back! We can only add 1 more person at most. Time flew. Half an hour later, most people had successfully formed teams and were psyching themselves up. Only Tu Tran's group was still floundering, unable to find enough members. Over here, Ma Long despondently asked, How many rounds and no one agrees to join us? A friend nearby clutched his head and complained. We only need 4 more people. Are we really going to be barred from the graduation exam? Turning to Ma Long, the friend quickly sensed something fishy. This is weird. How can Tu Tran only be at the lowest rank? Registration needs 5 people, and at minimum 1 should be upper tier. It seems they're deliberately targeting our dorm. From the protagonist's corner of view, he quietly analyzed the situation. The graduation combat test is everyone's only chance to showcase themselves. If a team scores high, they have a better shot at a good job. At the final evaluation moment, the number of monsters in the haunted zone depends on team size, but more people doesn't necessarily make it easier to get a high score. That's why everyone is squeezing to join Kung Din's strong team, and no one wants to be stuck with a low-ranking team. The 3 lowest-ranked students in the whole school are all lower-tier E and live in our dorm. If this continues then, just then a solicitous voice called out, Hey, lower tier. Our team is missing one more member. Join our team. You surely don't want to join that trash team of 3 low-tier E dormmates, do you? Otherwise, you won't even qualify to take the graduation evaluation. His words made Tu Tran's expression grow serious. He thought to himself, if things stay like this, the 3 of us lower-tier E will very likely be abandoned by everyone. In the end, we'll even lose the right to participate. Then, to everyone's surprise, the lower-tier student gave an astonishing reply. I'm really sorry. Our dormmates had already agreed to form a team earlier. I won't abandon my dormmates. The reply made the one who extended the invitation somewhat annoyed and angry. Forget it. Suit yourself. We only needed you to fill numbers and you still refuse us. Really ungrateful. H letter 1E1NG Ta retorted. Stop looking down on others. Turning to Ma Long's point of view, he checked the class roster once more and then warned everyone in a panic. It seems everyone else has already finished forming teams. There aren't many upper-tier E left. The 2 of us clearly still need one more, but nobody is willing to join. While he was still fretting, Tu Tran glanced at the person who caused all this. It was Kung Hyan, director of the employment office. He shares the same surname as Kung Din. Apparently, he's also part of the Kung family. Rules for the graduation exam can be changed just like that, huh? You even deliberately altered your apparent rank to stop others from forming teams with us. Thinking you can intimidate Kung Din. People in power really want everything. But I will definitely take part in this graduation exam. If you all have openly targeted me like this, then I have no reason to be polite anymore. Proving myself by strength isn't limited to this test. The others were startled to see Tu Tran's whole body covered in crackling lightning. Ma Long hurriedly tried to calm things. Hey bro, what do you intend to do? What does that Tu Tran plan to do? Could he be planning too? Some people had guesses. Of course, Tu Tran had his own purpose. The Awakening Academy has a special tradition to help students master professions and combat anywhere students may issue one-on-one challenges. This provocative act allows one to demonstrate their strength directly to everyone. Faced with a sudden challenge, many would refuse, but Kung Din certainly would not. If he defeats him, there will definitely be people eager to team up to chase high scores. With that in mind, as Tu Tran prepared to approach Kung Din, another voice suddenly rang from the doorway. Tu Tran, your team still needs one more, right? I also want to take part in this year's school graduation exam. Back in junior school, I reached rank D. If I join your team, I probably won't hold you back, right? The newcomer was Lin Vu. Her arrival left Ma Long and H letter 1E1NG Ta astonished. Oh my, since when has Tu Tran been hanging out with Lin Vu? That's epic. Sitting in front, the hound Kung Than barked out frantically. Ask her, what did she say? Kung Hyan was so surprised, he spat out the water in his mouth. Around them, whispers rose nonstop. Vice President Lin Vu wants to team up with that clueless Tu Tran and his crew. Isn't she an exchange student from outside? Why would she want to participate in our school's graduation evaluation? Her background is mysterious. Rumor has it she's a prodigy from Saint Ha Nation. Back to Kung Hyan's perspective, after a moment of surprise, he turned angry and thought, why is this girl starting to help outsiders? Then he challenged. Student Lin Vu, you're an exchange student. You have no right to take part in our school's graduation evaluation. Moreover, you've never taken any assessment since transferring here. I haven't seen any test report proving your prodigious rank. Your participation in this evaluation is completely against the rules. No sooner had he finished speaking than the figure of a tall man appeared inside the hall. Director Kung Hyan is not wrong. Ma Long, seeing the man beside him, shouted in alarm, Principal Hiu, since when did you arrive? Kung Hyan hastily stood up, his heart racing. The principal is here too. The principal, however, seemed unaware of his panic and calmly said, Lin Vu, you're only here as a temporary exchange student. Why are you causing a disturbance? The most surprised person here was none other than the protagonist. I recall the principal's profession is warrior, right? How does he have instantaneous teleport ability like this? Unaware of his thoughts, the principal smiled and said, Lin Vu, if you join the fight, it wouldn't be fair. Graduation tests only mean anything if they reflect true ability, don't they? Lin Vu smiled back. Oh my, what a pity then. While the 2 of them chatted pleasantly, Tu Tran quietly scanned their information. The result made him break out in a cold sweat, because a huge question mark appeared over their heads. I can't probe the ranks of these 2. Kung Hyan began to falter and chimed in. The principal is not wrong. Our school's reputation exists because we always follow the rules. Before he could say more, the principal cut him off. The mission of the National Awakening University is to train top awakeners and give them the best arena to showcase their talents. ensuring a plentiful and stable supply of awakened talent for the world. The graduation combat evaluation has been a tradition maintained for decades. It is also one of the most pivotal turning points in a student's life. If a student loses this opportunity because of such a special factor, how could the school shoulder that responsibility? As he spoke, he became extremely cold. That single look made Kung Hyan so frightened he almost wet himself. Is that old man implying me? Has he discovered that I secretly meddled? Normally he wouldn't care about such trivial matters. Today that old man and Lin Vu staged this act together. Is it because of that brat? Forget it, there's no need to argue to death with that old man. Kung Din, I could only help you this far. The high-ranking students all formed teams on their own to complete the task. Only that Tu Tran dragged along 3 trash teammates. This time you'll easily win, right? Thinking this, the old dog hurriedly bowed his head and admitted fault. Oh my, Principal, you are absolutely right. Our recruitment office was careless and didn't consider that the current grouping method could leave some students behind. He immediately changed the registration method. I declare, teams with fewer than 5 members or without any member of upper tier E or higher may also register. The doors to the graduation combat evaluation are permanently open to everyone. Thus, with the participation criteria changed, Tu Tran's group quickly formed their team in joy. Yeah, we have participants now. Tu Tran, you'll be the team leader this time. From behind, the principal also spoke to Lin Vu with interest. Your concern for Tu Tran is much stronger than I expected, Lin Vu. On one side is the strongest team in the school's history, led by Kung Din. On the other is Tu Tran and his 3 roommates, the lowest scoring students in the whole school. I'm curious, which monsters will they choose and how many points will they end up with? Up on the stage, an old proctor reminded. Contestants, after teams are formed, the team leader may proceed to select the monsters. No sooner had he finished speaking than his tablet received a notification. Oh, a team has already selected monsters. That fast. Not only him, others also received the information and exclaimed. Tu Tran's team is choosing demons already. Holy shit, the monster they've chosen is. The rest of Tu Tran's team were so terrified by his choice they felt faint. Tu Tran, are you crazy? Withdraw it now. My ancestors, Tu Tran, do you know what you've chosen? Tu Tran remained silent, not responding to them. According to the school's curriculum schedule, the practical graduation exam is the first time students form teams to enter a real dungeon. Students earn points by defeating the dungeon lord and the minor monsters. The scoring is divided into 3 categories. Completion of the clear, maximum 10 points. Eliminating all monsters in the dungeon yields 10 points. Each surviving monster deducts 1 point. Killing the dungeon lord, maximum 20 points. Successfully killing the boss grants 20 points. Failure yields no points. Completion time, maximum 20 points. Completing the clear within 1 hour grants 20 points. After 1 hour, 1 point is deducted for every 5 minutes. Dungeons of different tiers have different difficulties, and the corresponding bonus points also vary. Therefore, if you choose an F-rank dungeon, the highest possible score is only 75 points. However, there is another tier, an E-rank dungeon, which in theory can yield a perfect score of 100 points. Moreover, there's an enticing prize here. The team with the highest score will have all members receive offers from the Imperial Guild. And the standout, the team's MVP, will be directly offered a managerial position in the Imperial Guild and receive a reward of 1 million. Looking at the screen, the brown-haired trainee sighed and said, the highest score in the school's exam history is 90 points, set last year by a genius from our school. He's now the head of an Imperial squad. He founded it after graduating. His companion eagerly agreed and added, E-rank dungeon difficulty is indeed enormous. It even takes 3 D-rank awakens to clear one. He then glanced toward the group in the center of the room and speculated. The Kung Din team might be able to challenge that school record. At that moment, the system announced, submitted. The bespectacled youth immediately exclaimed in surprise, a team has already selected their dungeon. That was fast. But immediately after, he cried out in disbelief. Oh my God, it's 2TR1EA7N's team. The bespectacled youth stammered incoherently. He actually chose a D-rank dungeon. On the screen, 2TR1EA7N's image suddenly appeared. Selected a D-rank dungeon, awaiting team members' confirmation. Instantly, the bespectacled youth shouted, never in history has a graduate cleared a D-rank dungeon. That kid, is he out of his mind? Elsewhere in the class, Ma Long panicked and yelled, 2TR1EA7N, are you crazy? Do you know what you picked? In a corner, H1EA1NG Ta collapsed to the floor, clutching his head and trembling. Crazy, crazy. Why did I join a team with a madman like you? Staring at the selection panel, he wailed without tears. Is it still possible to withdraw from the team now? Across the room, Ma Long anxiously questioned 2 TR letter 1EA7N. Have you thought it through? This is a D-rank dungeon, and D-rank means. 2 TR letter 1EA7N replied with a very calm expression. I've thought it through. At that moment, the system announced again, submitted. The main screen showed Kung Din's face. Selected a D-rank dungeon. Team members have confirmed. All members have confirmed. Team Kung Din has officially submitted their proposal. In an instant, other students screamed in terror. Oh my God, another D-rank. Someone chose a D-rank dungeon. Oh my God. Their voices rang throughout the lecture hall. This year there's really going to be a show. Over there, the blonde girl glanced in one direction and sneered with contempt. A bunch of rotten weaklings trying to pretend? They haven't even considered their own abilities. Following her gaze, she saw the three people, 2 TR letter 1EA7N and his companions, standing in the distance. Over here, the bald guy heard that and immediately joined in the mockery. They know they'll end up at the bottom of the rankings, so they'd rather attract attention. That's a D-rank dungeon. His teammates won't agree to join. If you still have a chance to withdraw, switch teams quickly. They just formed the team and now it's already breaking up. Pathetic, pathetic. Over there, Ma Long watched 2 TR letter 1EA7N's expression intently. Seeing him so calm, he fell into contemplative thought. Has 2 TR letter 1EA7N really become that resolute? Where did that powerful aura come from, and when did it start appearing? Throughout our university years, this kid was always someone I had to protect. A hint of sadness flashed across Ma Long's eyes. Then, without hesitation, he joined 2 TR letter 1EA7N's team. If we've spent 4 years together, then I'll go with you to the end. Immediately after, H letter 1EA1NG, H letter 1EEF, quickly agreed. We're at the bottom anyway. D rank or F rank makes no difference. Since it's come to this, we might as well enter the D-rank dungeon and broaden our horizons. Seeing this, H letter 1EA1NG Ta cried out in disbelief. Hey, you guys. He panicked and shouted. You mean actually do it? I'm supposed to be the dorm boss. How did I end up always at the bottom? In the end, H letter 1EA1NG Ta mustered his courage and joined. I agree to join too. Screw it, at least we have to graduate. If we're going crazy, let's go all the way. Immediately, the system confirmed. All team members have confirmed. 2 TR letter 1EA7N's team has successfully submitted their application. Glancing at his three friends, 2 TR letter 1EA7N was a little moved as he murmured, Everyone. Then he lowered his eyes and said frankly, Sorry, I chose the D-rank dungeon because I want to get MVP. But 2 TR letter 1EA7N didn't realize that his words had reached Kung Din's ears. He continued, Now I'm asking everyone to face danger with me. 2 TR letter 1EA7N turned to his friends and, sincerely inviting them, said, So let's get the highest score together. Just then Kung Din suddenly declared, The MVP is mine. At the sound, 2 TR letter 1EA7N turned his head to look back. He saw Kung Din's face coldly assert, 2 TR letter 1EA7N, there can only be one strongest in the whole school. Seeing this, Lin Vu commented with interest. This is the first time I've seen this expression on Kung Din. Looks like this kind of look. She murmured thoughtfully. The duel between these two has finally come. Beside them, the principal softly sighed. Youth is wonderful. For things they don't know, they're afraid of nothing. Thinking of something, Lin Vu's face showed concern as she said, But 2 TR letter 1EA7N choosing a D-rank dungeon is overly confident. Even if he's C-rank, expecting to single-handedly lead the team to clear a D-rank dungeon is absolutely impossible. Her tone turned serious. Although the D-rank dungeon's bonus multiplier is 3, theoretically the maximum is 150 points. Lin Vu calmly assessed, but the difficulty is several times that of an E-rank dungeon. Given the current strength of their team, this choice is clearly the most optimal. Hearing that, the principal only smiled lightly. That's right. There's only half a month left until the practical exam begins. His voice judged slowly. In such a short time, it's impossible to achieve a qualitative upgrade. Finally, the principal calmly expressed, I hope 2 TR letter 1EA7N's group can put on a decent performance by then. On the athletic field, 2 TR letter 1EA7N's group was training diligently. There were 17 days left until the assessment. After running, Ma Long couldn't stand. I tell you, 2 TR letter 1EA7N, everyone else is training elemental power and simulating monster fights in the functional rooms. Why are you taking us to do this all day? His voice trembled as he asked bewilderedly. Dodging light, shuttle runs, sprints, our graduation exam isn't a triathlon. What use are these things? Hearing this, 2 TR letter 1EA7N calmly replied. At this stage, training elemental power and simulated confrontations won't mean much. They're ultimately just theoretical exercises. Looking down at his three friends, he analyzed seriously. When you enter an unknown dungeon and face great monsters you've never seen before, fear and the unknown suddenly overwhelm you like a flood. What determines your fate, then, isn't the theories stored in your brain. 2 TR letter 1 EA7N solemnly pointed out. Nor is it a hastily assembled combination of techniques at the last minute, but your instincts. His words clearly reached the three. Now we train physical fitness, explosive strength, and reaction force to enhance your body's instincts. 2 TR letter 1 EA7N turned around and in a calm, instructive tone, said, the school's simulation training can maximize support, but the only truly useful training is actual combat in dungeons. His gaze coldly exposed a truth. But ordinary people can't enter real dungeon combat training. Advantages and privileges always belong to the unordinary. At the same time, in the functional room, Kung Din defeated a monster with a single move. What 2 TR letter 1 EA7N spoke of was none other than his own group. They would spare no cost to widen the gap with others, to ensure they permanently stand above. His voice judged calmly. They were born with things others spend a lifetime seeking and can never touch. After hearing everything, H letter 1 EA1NG Ta anxiously asked, so what about us, those with nothing? What should we do? 2 TR letter 1 EA7N's face declared solemnly. By attacking the Imperial Guild at the highest level and transcending our current class. Looking at his three friends, he seriously pointed out. The graduation exam is the only opportunity for you to take a detour. 2 TR letter 1 EA7N said with firm conviction. And it's also the best opportunity for me to take that detour. He looked determined as he promised. As for fulfilling my part to you, I'll do everything I can. We will definitely win. Time passed. 15 days remained until the assessment. In the HUY letter 1 EC1 N and Guyern TR letter 1 E5 Y Tin Tower, 2 TR letter 1 EA7N was fighting monsters unarmed. He couldn't dodge in time and was bitten on the shoulder by a beast. Immediately after, it reared up and raked 2 TR letter 1 EA7N with its claws. A few days later, with 10 days left on the athletic field, he ran while encouraging his friends. 5 laps left, come on. The three chased after him, groaning tiredly. We can't keep up. At the tower, 2 TR letter 1 EA7N entered HUY letter 1 EC1 and Ngayern TR letter 1 E5 Y Tin again to eliminate monsters. Elsewhere, Kung Din was also fighting with all his might. Time passed, 5 days remained. At this point, 2 TR letter 1 EA7N was doing push-ups on the field. 3 days before the exam, Kung Din entered the tower to train again. With 2 days left, 2 TR letter 1 EA7N could single-handedly wipe out the swarm of beasts, his rank rising. On the final day, he returned bloodied, grinding out each word. The real battle has begun. On June 17, 2157, the day of the practical graduation exam. Before the testing room, a lively robot introduced itself. Hello, candidates. I am the drone accompanying this assessment. Opposite them, someone arrived and was slowly fastening their gauntlets. Seeing 2 TR letter 1 EA7N's group ready, the robot carefully reminded them. Please check that you have your wristbands and equipment properly worn. Immediately after, it announced solemnly, attention everyone, the graduation assessment is officially beginning. Outside the National Awakening University, 2 luxury cars were parked at the school's office building. Seeing the arrivals, the principal immediately came out and greeted them warmly with a handshake. Long time no see, Chairman Kung. The man returned the greeting amiably. Principal, you've been waiting. He was Kung Lam, founder of the Imperial Guild Union and Kung Din's father. On the upper floor, students buzzed when they saw Kung Lam. Is that one of the founders of the Imperial Guild? That's impressive. Seeing the two respectfully waiting by the white car, the crowd grew curious. Oh, who's in the back seat? Whoever it is must be important enough to make the principal and the guild founder step down to meet them. Below, a red-haired man slowly stepped out. Immediately, the students cried out in shock. No way, it's... The man was Kynal Cavendish, Vice President of the World Guild Alliance. Recognizing him, a brown-blonde youth shouted in disbelief. The Alliance Vice President, the Guild Alliance Vice President is here at our school. He expressed his excitement. Damn, these major figures are almost impossible to meet in a lifetime. No wonder the office area is so spotless today. The Guild Alliance is the most powerful organization in the world right now. If they were to notice you. Below, the principal followed and carefully announced. The live broadcast of the practical graduation exam is about to begin. Please move inside. Meanwhile, the students upstairs excitedly whispered. No way, just interacting with the Guild Alliance is a once-in-a-lifetime boost. A while later inside, Kung Huy letter 1EC1N stood before the screen and introduced. In this year's practical graduation exam, 184 students are participating, divided into 28 teams. He carefully reported the team distribution. Of these, 23 teams chose F-rank dungeons, 2 teams chose E-rank, and 2 teams chose D-rank. Hearing this, the bespectacled girl asked in surprise, "Oh, there are still teams choosing D-rank dungeons." She was Sigrid, Secretary General of the Guild Alliance. Sigrid commented thoughtfully, "Even for professional guild teams, D-rank dungeons are considered dangerous. Have you fully explained the dangers of the dungeons to your students?" Kung Huy letter 1EC1N replied firmly, "Of course, we've made that clear beforehand. Because students lack real combat opportunities, the majority chose the lowest level E-rank. Dealing with ordinary small monsters in F-rank dungeons is still barely manageable. In an F-rank dungeon, a young man threw a punch and destroyed a spiny carp. Seeing that group situation, Kung Huy letter 1EC1N calmly judged. But facing a dungeon boss is relatively difficult. The boss's strength far exceeds that of small monsters of the same rank. Students must fight with all their might to defeat an F-rank boss in a dungeon." He then moved on to another group and explained, "But the situation in E-rank dungeons is completely different. Each small monster in an E-rank dungeon is comparable in strength to an F-rank boss. There, students must face hundreds of small monsters." Seeing that, the black-haired youth panicked and complained, "E-rank dungeons are this hard? Totally beyond expectation." This demonstration fully proved Kung Huy letter 1EC1N's point. Thus, for the vast majority of students, conquering an E-rank dungeon is basically an impossible task. Looking at the black-haired youth's group, Sigrid asked seriously, "If a student is in danger, are there protective measures?" Kung Huy letter 1EC1N answered unflustered, "Secretary General, rest assured, students are our most valuable resource." His tone grew solemn as he assured them, "Each dungeon is monitored by armed personnel from the Imperial Guild contingent. If an extremely dangerous situation is detected, they will intervene immediately." Immediately after, Kung Huy letter 1EC1N added, "Moreover, the contestants' wristbands also have a signal transmitting function." On the screen, the black-haired youth raised his hand and shouted, I forfeit the test." As soon as he spoke, the system immediately confirmed, "Forfeited." Watching that, Kung Huy letter 1EC1N calmly explained, "If a candidate issues a forfeit command for the assessment, they will be immediately extracted from the dungeon." After hearing everything, Sigrid pondered, "Even so, 2 teams still chose the harder D-rank dungeons. It seems your school truly has talent. I'm very much looking forward to their performance." In a moment, a scheming smile crossed Kung Huy letter 1EC1N's face as he thought inwardly, "Indeed, I want to see how long they can last." Looking at the image of 2TR letter 1EA7N's group, he disdainfully judged, "Those kids will run away soon." In the D-rank dungeon, the 4 finally encountered the monsters. At first sight, Ma Long cried out in panic, "What the hell is that?" Perched on the tree was a creature that looked like a monkey but had bat wings on its arms. Its appearance made him shudder. It looked so creepy. Ahead, 2TR letter 1EA7N glanced at them and calmly explained, "Bat monkey demons, airborne-type monsters, specialize in group attacks, dive at extremely high speed. Always be on guard against their stooping assaults." On the branches, the pack of bat monkey demons began to rise. A moment later, they all lunged down to attack the 4. Instantly, 2TR letter 1EA7N shouted a warning, "Incoming." As the attack struck, H letter 1EA1NG, H letter 1EFU nimbly leaned back to dodge. Beside him, Ma Long timely bent down. Even H letter 1EA1NG, Ta quickly jumped up to evade the assault. After that movement, H letter 1EA1NG Ta couldn't believe it and shouted, "Holy shit, we actually dodged an attack from a D-rank monster." Ma Long also whispered in terror, "I'm not dead." At that moment, one of the monsters suddenly collapsed and fell to the ground. The sound drew H letter 1EA1NG Ta's gaze. He stared in disbelief and blurted, "2TR letter 1EA7N." They saw that 2TR letter 1EA7N had already dispatched several monsters without them noticing. This sight made H letter 1EA1NG Ta panacingly shout. In the blink of an eye, he single-handedly killed 3 D-rank monsters. Si Chen's eyes flashed with a faint golden light as he turned his head, his steady voice ringing out, "You still don't have enough strength to deal with them right now. Just focus on protecting yourself here." In an instant, he accelerated, his figure blurring into a hazy streak of light before adding one short sentence. Leave the rest to me. At the same time, Xiangzhu, Ma Long, and Xiangyu all rolled away to dodge at once, Xiangzhu shouting loudly. Watch out! He tumbled to the ground, his back slamming hard against a tree trunk, the pain excruciating, and a clear thought suddenly flashed through his mind. So that's how it is. All this time he's been training our reflexes and explosive power. He never actually expected us to help him at all. He just wanted us to be able to protect ourselves when the time came. He muttered to himself, his inner voice full of bitterness. Damn it! All along I've been the dorm big bro, and now I'm the one who has to rely on this kid to carry me through graduation. On the other side of the battlefield, Si Chen unleashed a barrage of thunderous punches, each strike accompanied by deafening explosions as he swept away every incoming demonic bat monkey. The creatures roared madly and surged forward again like a tidal wave. Si Chen didn't falter at all, continuing to swing horizontal and vertical slashes, tearing each one apart and sending them flying far away. Xiangzhu stood frozen, his eyes glued to Si Chen's back as he thought to himself. Before this, Ma Long said Si Chen was really strong and I didn't believe it, but seeing it with my own eyes today, I finally get it. This guy is so powerful, he doesn't even seem like a graduating student anymore. He's clearly a battle-hardened veteran from the front lines. Watching Si Chen defeat wave after wave, he sighed inwardly. This guy has somehow become way too reliable. Have I really been left behind like this? Suddenly a demonic bat monkey lunged straight from behind, Xiangyu yelling. Careful, another one's coming from the back. Right at that moment, Xiangzhu appeared out of nowhere. He swung his arm and gripped the monster's leg tightly, yanking hard to halt it in place, dropping to one knee on the ground, panting heavily, but his voice still firm. Hey, move to the right, Ma Long. We can't just be dead weight and rely completely on Si Chen alone. Ma Long and Xiangyu froze for a second. Xiangzhu stared straight into their eyes and continued. This isn't just his graduation exam. It's ours too. Xiangyu nodded vigorously and immediately unleashed his move. You're right, he shouted loudly. Flower chant binding vines, taste how badass I am. Thick green vines shot out like snakes, wrapping tightly around the demonic bat monkey. But it struggled violently and tore the vines apart in just a few seconds. Xiangyu panicked. It broke free in the blink of an eye. Right at that instant, a wave of white freezing mist enveloped the monster. Ma Long extended his hand forward, his voice cold. I've slowed it down, Xiangyu, let's hit it together. Xiangyu raised his hand too and unleashed. Cloud chant, Frost Veil Buddha, let's see you run now. The two skills combined perfectly. The frost slowed the monster to a crawl and the vines immediately tightened again, both of them shouting in unison. Xiangzhu, now's your chance. Xiangzhu charged forward instantly, flames blazing around his body. Got it. He hurled a mage core, blazing burst bullet and roared. Take this. The fireball exploded right on the demonic bat monkey's face, charring one side pitch black, though in agony it still snarled furiously. Xiangzhu kept throwing more while cursing. So damn tanky. The vines got ripped apart again. Xiangyu gritted his teeth. I can't hold it much longer. Ma Long was also gasping. I'm at my limit. Xiangzhu leaped high, pouring all his power into one massive blazing burst bullet and yelled. Going all out then. This is my full force strike. Mage core, converged blazing burst bullet crashed down like a meteor straight into the demonic bat monkey. A earth-shaking explosion rang out as flames swallowed its entire body. The system announced coldly. Congratulations, you have successfully eliminated the demonic bat monkey. The three of them collapsed onto the ground, breathing raggedly and drenched in sweat, Xiangzhu grinning crookedly. We did it. We actually took down a Class D demonic beast. Si Chen leaned against a tree trunk, silently watching. Xiangzhu struggled to his feet and looked toward him. Hey, Si Chen, you saw that right? Among the remaining ashes lay one item. Demonic bat monkey finger bone ×1. Xiangzhu smiled confidently. Piece of cake, just like I said. Si Chen gave a rare, gentle smile, his voice warm. Well done, congratulations. Behind him lay the corpses of dozens of defeated demonic bat monkeys. The system continued announcing. All minor monsters in this demonic cavern have been eliminated. On the other side of the monitoring screen, Gong Chuan's eyes widened in shock, his voice trembling. How is this possible? He muttered in disbelief. These useless students with zero real combat experience actually managed to kill a Class D demonic beast above their level. Gong Lin and the principal sitting beside him sank into deep silence. Kainil, lounging comfortably in his chair, suddenly spoke up, a spark of interest in his eyes. This young man performed pretty well, didn't he? He stared intently at Si Chen's image on the screen and added softly. Moreover, he looks a lot like an old acquaintance of mine. Cavendish tilted his head slightly and said, His name is Si Chen Ha, got it. Gong Lin jolted slightly at those words. Gong Chuan's whole body suddenly trembled unnaturally. He quickly pointed ahead to change the subject. Everyone look quick. Another team that picked a Class D demonic cavern has already fought their way to the middle. At that moment, the screen showed an intense battle. Chris pushed up his glasses thoughtfully and analyzed. Their coordination flows like water and clouds. It's basically on the level of a professional guild raid team. Cavendi's rested his cheek on his hand and let out an appreciative, "Oh, interesting, this year's graduating students aren't half bad." Gong Chuan immediately bowed his head with a secret smirk. The real fight had only just begun, and the true game was still ahead. Right now, the highly dangerous Class B fungal cavern, with its poisonous miasma, was wreaking havoc everywhere. Yin Ling stood alone, hugging her chin, channeling yin energy to drive away the toxic mist with her ultimate move, Lamenting Elegy, weakening their strength, stamina, and speed. Immediately, Yanhe stepped up and raised his hand to assist. The kid's spiritual power sent the fungi flying into the air as he shouted loudly, "Captain!" Gong Ting seized the opening and unleashed a razor-sharp weapon, slashing several times until the fungi exploded into dust and smoke. Once finished, Gong Ting sheathed his sword. Yanhe and his teammates watched them gradually vanish, thinking to themselves that the demonic beasts the school was using for the exam were exactly the same ones they'd encountered in previous training sessions. Dealing with them really was as easy as flipping a hand. As expected, the graduation assessment had been arranged by the Gong family long ago. Just pick the right mountain to climb, and your life path becomes incredibly smooth. At this rate, we're definitely taking first place. Gong Cheng saw Gong Ting turn away and urged, "Let's go take down the boss." Scene shift to see Chen's group, struggling through a raging blizzard. He stared ahead with a serious expression. After a while, Si Chen stood before the highly dangerous Class D demonic cavern and spoke. "Mount Yunsen, the peak. We actually made it all the way to the top of a Class D demonic cavern. The ice ghost ape was currently feasting without a care." Ma Long blurted out in fear, "So that's the real final boss. It looks freaking vicious." Xiang Zhu wasn't far behind and added, "One slap from that thing would kill me 10 times over." Suddenly it opened its blazing red eyes wide, making Ma Long and Huang Hun yell, "It's looking over here." The ice ghost ape didn't hesitate and charged straight at them, sending the whole group scrambling in panic. Only Si Chen leaped up and stomped directly onto its head, kicking the ice ghost ape flying far away without any hesitation. The moment Si Chen landed, it had already circled him several times in a burst of golden light. The ice ghost ape screamed in agony under that terrifying power, shredded into countless fragments by endless beams of light. In a flash, Si Chen had drawn his weapon and pierced straight through the ice ghost ape's body. Xiang Zhu and Ma Long watched in horror, trembling. He took it down that easily. A few minutes later, Si Chen stared thoughtfully at the ice ghost ape. The system announced, plus 200 experience, obtained ice ape ×1. He narrowed his eyes, sensing something off. "That's weird. Killing the lord of a Class D demonic cavern only gives this little experience, and the drops are so pitiful too." Suddenly a shout echoed out, drawing Si Chen's attention. "So many magic crystals." Xiang Zhu stood next to a tree stuffed full of magic crystals, waving excitedly. "Guys, come here quick and look. That big guy hid a ton of magic crystals in this hollow. Judging by the size, they're at least mid-grade. Just sell them outside, and we'll be set for life." But Si Chen's eyes widened as he shouted to stop them. Wait, too late. Someone had already touched the magic crystals. In an instant, they were enveloped by a bizarre radiant light. Even Si Chen froze in front of that glow. Boom, an ice explosion detonated right there. The whole group was instantly locked in place by massive ice chunks. And right after that, the screen went completely black. The system displayed a warning. Team Si Chen has lost signal. Gong Chuan stroked his beard and chuckled softly when he saw it. As expected, they fell for it. High-grade demonic beasts have intelligence. Trash is still trash in the end. They'll only ever drag everyone down. Now your graduation assessment can finally come to a close. Cavendi's spoke up quickly. In this situation, the students' lives were at risk. He leaned forward urgently. "Exactly. We need to rescue them immediately. Looks like we have no choice but to send in a guild team. Let them stop here." But Yuan Long countered, "Give them a bit more time. The bracelets are monitoring their vitals in real time. So far, all survival indicators are normal, and there's no report of them giving up in their consciousness either. The right to choose should stay with the examinees." Scene shift to the other side. Ma Long sneezed loudly. Behind him, his teammates were all frozen solid. Only he was left hugging himself. "It's freezing. Good thing my class is cloud-based and has some resistance to freezing. Otherwise, I'd be trapped too." Suddenly, several strange noises rang out. leaving Ma Long confused. A second later, a monstrous beast with a massive hulking frame appeared in midair. He felt terror grip his heart. So this is the true lord of this demonic cavern. Faced with the aura that monster exuded, Ma Long's mind raced. Suddenly he froze. He seemed to recall seeing this ice-type mage in the magic handbook. He wielded both offensive and control skills, mastered snow and ice manipulation, sly, treacherous, ruthless, and liked to toy with his prey until death. This was the Frozen Bone Ancient King, a rare C-rank fiend lord. That ice bomb earlier was definitely his trap. Thinking that, Ma Long no longer wanted to stay and face the monster. There was no way he could handle it alone. He needed to get everyone out fast. With that thought, Ma Long spun and sprinted toward the main player to rescue their strongest fighter. But he had barely taken a few steps when his right leg was pierced by a shard of ice. The young man immediately rolled on the ground in pain. From above, the boss watched and laughed with glee. At the same time, Ma Long's bracelet kept warning. Warning, penetrating wound detected in left calf. Do you want to forfeit this trial? Without hesitation, Ma Long refused decisively. I refuse. I have to free Tu Tran quickly. Once he's conscious, we still have a chance. With that in mind, he activated the Realm Purifying Origin skill, focusing purifying energy on a single target to slowly remove negative status effects. But would the Fiend Lord sit idly by while Ma Long freed his teammate? Another ice shard shot through Ma Long's arm, sending him crashing to the ground. At the same time, the Purify skill failed. Seeing that, the Fiend Lord laughed with amusement. Then he used Ice Bone Accumulation, slowly gathering razor-sharp ice shards around himself. Ma Long's bracelet was frantically shrieking. Danger, heart rate too high, penetrating wound detected in right arm. Do you want to forfeit the trial? To that question, Ma Long gritted his teeth. Images of his past failures flashed through his mind. Give up. That's because every time I faced difficulty and fear, I ran away. That's why I was forever left behind, looked down on, mocked, humiliated, treated unfairly. We risked our lives to get here, and it's taken so much struggle just for a shot at flipping fate. I won't give up now. With that resolve, Ma Long used Realm Purifying Origin again. A gentle light began to emanate from his palm, but it seemed costly, and the youth's face gradually went pale. At the same moment, the boss waved and unleashed his skill downward. Ma Long, seemingly unaware, kept channeling the skill, but behind him, several sharp ice shards darted straight toward him. At that point, he could only scream, pouring all his strength into freeing Tu Tran. Luckily, his effort wasn't wasted. At the most dangerous moment, Tu Tran's eyes flew open. Before the shards smashed into the ground, Tu Tran broke free, scooped up Ma Long and dashed to the side. Even the high-up monster flickered with surprise. Tu Tran propped Ma Long up against a nearby rocky outcrop. When Ma Long saw his buddy awake, he forced a grin and croaked. Ha ha, so in the end I still had to rely on you to sort things out, huh? Tu Tran reassured him with a worried face. No, you've helped a lot. Is your wound serious? Ma Long shook his head and quickly relayed what he'd learned. Nothing serious, the bleeding has stopped. That monster is a C-rank ice lord, the Frozen Bone Ancient King. Its power is terrifying, do not let it freeze you. As soon as he finished speaking, both of them seemed to sense something and turned to look behind them, seeing it was worse than not looking. High above, the monster was using Ice Fury Mega Shell, forming a gigantic block of ice that eclipsed the area. It looked down and laughed loudly, as if savoring the sight of ants about to be crushed by its skill. Ma Long nearly peed his pants at the sight. He can fire an ice megabomb like that? How are we supposed to stop that? No need to spell it out. When the skill struck, it caused a earth-shattering explosion. The entire field of vision was obscured by white light and the winds of the blast. From high above, the boss-level monster was still laughing triumphantly. Yet only a few seconds later, the look in its eyes suddenly changed. Down below, Si Chen and Ma Long were not frozen at all. This was thanks to our main character having changed his class to activate Cold Bone Physique. Its effect was immunity to cold, and all resistance abilities were enhanced in low-temperature environments. At this point, it was the monster's turn to start sweating bullets in fear. It wasn't just the monster. Even Ma Long was equally surprised. Si Chen, what kind of power do you have? You were clearly a lightning-type assassin, weren't you? Could it be that you possess two classes, a 1 in 10,000 rare existence? He screamed in terror. To this question, Si Chen didn't intend to explain much, and just replied with frustration. Sorry, my previous misjudgment put the three of you in danger. But it won't be like that anymore. Our main character changed his class to activate Rakshasa Purgatory form, and declared, now I'm going to finish off that monster immediately. Back to Ma Long. Seeing his friend Si Chen constantly switching classes like that, he had shifted from surprise to pure fear. Generally speaking, An awakened person can only awaken one type of class, but there are extremely rare cases with a 1,100,000 probability where the awakened will possess two types of classes. This is an extremely rare existence, also known as a dual classer. Looking across the entire world, the number of dual classers hasn't even exceeded 10 people. Talent like this, once discovered, immediately becomes a target for all the guilds to fight over and recruit. Yet now, did Si Chen actually possess one, two, or even three classes? Moreover, the sense of dread that each class brought was truly terrifying. Just as Ma Long sensed, when Si Chen switched to his Activate Rakshasa Purgatory class, all his attributes were increasing to a dizzying level. Ignoring Ma Long's thoughts, the moment Si Chen accumulated enough power, he pushed off his feet and launched himself forward like a missile, immediately closing in on the boss monster. From above, he raised his sword, preparing to strike it down directly. Ma Long, watching from below, stared in a daze. A thought flickered in his mind. The sense of helplessness the monster had felt under Si Chen's blade had vanished without a trace. Not to mention him, the boss monster was already scared to the point of wetting itself. But before it could do anything, Si Chen used the skill Activate 8 Appearances, defying Calamity, Overload Mode, unleashing an incredibly heavy slash. The slash came down, and the monster was instantly sliced in two. In the end, its body was shattered into bone fragments. Si Chen landed lightly. The system quickly provided a notification. Experience plus 5000. You have leveled up to level 17. You have received Ice Bone Stab X1. Returning to Ma Long's perspective, he ran over to examine the remaining skull of the boss monster, then laughed foolishly. My bro is still the best. A rank C magical boss, and it's finished in one slash. To this remark, Si Chen just reminded him vaguely. Those two are still frozen. You still have the strength to free them, right? The main character's reminder left Ma Long frozen in place. Realizing he had left two other teammates behind, he rushed to save them. Oh my god, I almost forgot about Xiang Zhu and Xiang Yu. Hang in there, brothers. Returning to Si Chen's perspective, a notification screen appeared before him. Can be devoured. Regarding this notification, Si Chen didn't feel surprised. He gently reached his hand forward, activating his devour ability. The skull was immediately sucked into his palm, and in the end it completely vanished, leaving no trace behind. Once this was completed, the system provided a confirmation notification. Devour complete. Ice Bone Skeleton King. Skill: Ice Bone Stab. Condense moisture in the air to form sharp blades to attack enemies. Skill: Ice Explosion Bomb. Release an explosion by accumulating maximum ice attribute energy, capable of freezing everything within a 20 m radius around the user. Can be upgraded to activate Great Ice Explosion Bomb. Freezes everything within a 100 m2 radius around the user after the explosion. Can be disguised before the explosion occurs. Looking at the system screen, Si Chen swept his eyes around and thought, I've received a new class, Ice-type Sorcerer. This is the first time I've used the Devour class ability out in the open. The camera robot from earlier was completely frozen, so I probably haven't been exposed to the audience. Plus, there's still enough time, so I'll definitely be able to achieve a perfect score. Suddenly, another notification screen appeared. Class proficiency increased. You have received 1 star. You can allocate attribute points. The notification that appeared suddenly caught the male lead by surprise. Oh, got a star, huh? At the same time, over at Gong Ting's team, inside a high-danger Grade D dungeon, the gloomy cave Poison Vine, the group was fighting a monster called the Grade D Giant Devour Flower. Its massive body and strength made the group struggle to deal any damage at all. One guy in the group gritted his teeth. Is this the power of a Grade D boss? Hey guys, hit it with everything you've got. I can't hold it back any longer. On the other side, another guy was constantly firing lightning arrows, lamenting. Its defense is really strong. We basically can't break through its armor. Just as he said, the lightning arrows hit the flower monster without causing it any harm at all. With just one whip of its roots, it easily broke the group's formation, and the chains on its body were shattered as well. I can't control it anymore, the controller shouted, while the archer said in confusion, we never encountered a magical beast of this intensity during our training. What do we do? The controller turned to look at the group's only hope. We can only rely on the captain. How is guild leader Gong Ting doing? Hasn't he finished accumulating power yet? Not far away, he was receiving the power-up effect from his teammates' skills. Seeing the critical situation, he slowly drew his sword and said, That's enough. After speaking, the young man rushed forward like a rocket, striking the flower monster's body directly. Next, he shouted out loud, Activate Fierce Parting Blade Sweep Explode. Following this sound, A cataclysmic explosion occurred where the sword struck, causing the body of the flower monster to be blown into countless pieces. The teammates behind him cheered happily. The guild leader is so strong. No complaints about the guild leader. The guild leader is truly the best. At the same time, the surveillance robot arrived to announce, "Congratulations to the Gong Ting team for successfully clearing the Grade D dungeon. The time is 35 minutes. The group was even more excited upon hearing the time. Haha, it only took us half an hour to take down a Grade D dungeon. I doubt anyone will be able to do this later. We successfully cleared it within 1 hour, and since it's a triple reward dungeon, our total score is 150 points. A perfect score, an unprecedented perfect score in history. Let's go out and see the results." Gong Cheng walked and talked. Even for a Grade D dungeon, the lowest grade, others would have needed at least an hour to clear it. During this time, everyone who left the dungeon, except for us, must be the useless ones who gave up. Some people were holding their heads and complaining. "Don't let the monsters kill me," the friend next to him reassured him. "Calm down, we left the dungeon a long time ago." The female student hugged her body, shivering constantly. It was too scary, those monsters were too scary. Right then, Gong Cheng's eyes glanced at the group in the distance. He wore a dangerous, mocking smile as he assessed them. Si Chen and his group actually retreated early. Suddenly he shouted, "Isn't this Si Chen? Why couldn't you guys finish the exam? Didn't you act very cool before?" Right then someone called him, "Gong Cheng, come back here. The vice chairman is here." After exchanging greetings, Cavendish walked over from afar, clapping his hands. "Wonderful. Today I truly witnessed a very excellent performance." He walked slowly toward the group. Gong Cheng marveled. "This is the man standing at the pinnacle of the world's power. He is coming over. He is heading our way." Gong Ting reached out his hand as if to greet him, but unfortunately for him, Cavendish didn't care. He just brushed past them with indifference. Cavendish began chatting with Si Chen. "I really didn't expect that you could clear a Grade D dungeon in just 21 minutes. Even for a mature professional guild, that is very difficult to do. Truly wonderful." Gong Cheng shouted in horror. "What? Those 4 losers not only cleared the Grade D dungeon, but they also only took 21 minutes. Si Chen's group cheered excitedly. "Greetings, Vice Chairman." Si Chen inwardly evaluated. Cavendish, Vice Chairman of the World Guild Alliance, is also considered the second most powerful person in the world. Why is he here too? He began to speak. "Your name is Si Chen, right? This trip wasn't for nothing." "That's right, the young master of the Gong family also performed quite well. At such a young age, you led the team to clear a Grade D dungeon. Guild leader Gong Lin is truly a great mentor. The tiger father does not beget a weak son." Gong Lin responded, "The vice chairman is too kind." Then he frowned and glanced at Gong Ting, while the vice chairman turned away. "The time is getting late, I should be heading back." Everyone was whispering. That old man, the principal, really did pick up a big bargain. These are 2 once-in-a-millennium stars. Gong Chuan spoke up. "So next, I will announce the test results for the 2 teams. Because this test resulted in 2 maximum scores, I declare that both of your teams are tied for first place. All members of each team are eligible to join the Imperial Guild." Ma Long was excited. "The Imperial Guild? We actually made it into the Imperial Guild." Xiang Zhu agreed. "Yeah, everyone celebrated. We don't have to worry about food anymore right after graduation. A giant leap forward." He continued. "Also, both team captains, Gong Ting and Si Chen, will be awarded key management positions in the Imperial Guild, and they will share 1 million in MVP prize money." The expressions of Gong Ting and Si Chen immediately froze. He pondered, "Only 500,000. I promised Qing Zhai that I would pay back 1 million within a month. Does this mean I'll be forced to delay? Can I only think of a way to quickly earn another 500,000? On this side, Gong Ting suddenly spoke up. "First place can only be one person, and there only needs to be one person. I want a duel with you alone." His expression was extremely serious. Hearing that, everyone's expression turned to shock, and everyone turned their heads to look at Gong Ting. Even the vice chairman's group, which was planning to leave, couldn't help but turn back to watch the drama. Gong Chuan whispered, "What nonsense are you talking about? The test is over. The most reasonable solution is for both to tie for first place. Besides, Si Chen won't agree to a duel." However, unlike what he thought, the male lead suddenly stepped forward. Si Chen stepped forward and said, "If I win, all 1 million must belong to me." Gong Chuan spat out his drink upon hearing this. Gong Ting frowned, saying, "If you can defeat me, take it all." Cavendish was amused, remarking, "Very interesting. The show isn't over yet." Si Chen closed the distance and asked, "Tell me, how do you want to compete?" Meanwhile, Qing Zhai was incredibly surprised by the results Si Chen had achieved, thinking, I thought you had the strength to take first place, but I never expected you to break the record and get a perfect score. The press is reporting all about you. It seems I made a very wise and far-sighted choice, Qing Zhai said with a smile, adding, you don't need to pay back that 1.5 million. Think of it as my investment in a promising talent like you. He spoke while looking at the protagonist standing in front of him. Meanwhile, after a few seconds of contemplation, Si Chen firmly replied, no, the money that needs to be paid must be paid. I came here today to discuss two things with you. First is the debt repayment timeline. Please extend it by another week. Because two people tied for first place in the graduation exam, I received 500,000 less than expected. I will conduct a separate supplementary assessment with the other person. It will take place 1 week from now at the Wild Magic Den outside the city. Hearing this, Qing Zhai couldn't help but exclaim in shock. What? You two students are going into a Wild Magic Den outside the city. You haven't gone through guild training yet. That's too dangerous. Responding to that, Si Chen remained calm, saying, it's fine, you don't need to worry. After a week, I will win the supplementary assessment and collect the remaining 500,000. Furthermore, I will give you all the materials collected in the Magic Den as interest for the 1-week extension. As he listened to the protagonist, beads of sweat involuntarily formed on Qing Zhai's face, and he couldn't help but reevaluate Si Chen. He shows no fear toward entering a Wild Magic Den, only thinking about paying his debts and the interest. Truly extraordinary. Unaware of his thoughts, the protagonist continued. As for my second request, I came to see you today for one more thing, something even more important. His request was kept hidden by the author. It's unclear what Si Chen said, but Qing Zhai stood up in total shock after hearing it. Time passed quickly. On the afternoon of June 17, at Qingshui High School in Shangshan County, Si Yun, having just finished school, stretched happily and said, finally, the last exam is over. Next up is summer vacation. Upon mentioning this, she suddenly noticed the time on her phone screen. Oh, that's right, today is also my brother's graduation exam. She remembered 4 years ago when Si Chen excitedly showed her his acceptance letter to the National Awakening University. Si Yun, I've discovered elemental potential within me. I've been accepted into the National Awakening University. Opposite him, she was just as happy for her brother. Doesn't that mean you'll be like mom and dad, about to become an awaken? Si Chen nodded repeatedly, saying, yeah. I can join a powerful guild and earn lots of money so you can have a better life. Moreover, who knows? I might even be able to find clues regarding mom and dad's disappearance. Little Si Yun excitedly cheered along with her brother. Yeah, brother is so amazing. You're the best, you'll definitely become a super powerful awaken. Not long ago, she still remembered how depressed Si Chen looked when he couldn't awaken his powers. Then Si Chen would manage a smile, trying to reassure her. It's okay, it seems I just need to keep working harder. Back in the present, she thought. After entering the Awakening University, my brother was always the hardest worker among his peers. But in the end, he was the only one who couldn't awaken. Watching those around him awaken one by one, he must have been very lonely. He just never showed it in front of me. Just as she thought of this, her close friend Zhu Tong suddenly rushed over to greet her. Hey, Zio Yun, have you heard? 2 geniuses graduated from the National Awakening University this year. Both of them led their teams to perfect scores. The vice president of the Guild Alliance personally met them and gave them high praise. It's even on the news. Our Shangshan County is famous now. She then seemed to remember something and asked, oh, right, doesn't your brother go to that school? Si Yun's expression turned awkward, not knowing how to respond, when suddenly a male voice called out, good afternoon, Zio Yun. I've already booked a private room on the top floor of the Zai Feng building. You're free at 8:00 tonight, right? This handsome pink-haired guy was Jin Duo Zin, also a student at Qingshui School. His invitation made her close friend Zhu Tong blush and whisper, hey, Zio Yun, since when did you know the school's heartthrob? However, contrary to what they thought, Si Yun suddenly turned and ran away, leaving both of them surprised. Her friend exclaimed, hey, why are you walking so fast? All of Si Yun's reactions stemmed from her empathy for her brother. Her peers all achieved perfect scores on their graduation exams and made the news, yet her brother still hadn't awakened. It's so heartbreaking. I have to get home quickly and cook a big meal to comfort him. Time passed quickly until the night of June 17. Inside their rental room, as she had thought that morning, little Si Yun had prepared a sumptuous feast that even surprised the protagonist. Zio Yun, when did you make such a big table of food? This sukiyaki pot smells so good. Opposite him, Si Yun wore a very gloomy expression and didn't even want to reply. At that moment, the sound of the evening news came on. Coming up next is the evening news program. This morning, The National Awakening University of Dongtan-guo successfully concluded its practical graduation exam. Vice President of the Guild Alliance, Carl Cavendish, was personally present to mingle with the students. Si-yun, seeing her brother still eating happily, became even more convinced of her thoughts. As expected, he's trying to act calm. Failing the graduation exam is a huge shock for anyone, yet he's not showing it at all. The announcer continued. According to reports, a rare double champion case appeared in this year's exam. 2 genius students led their teams to perfect scores. Vice President Carl spoke very highly of this exam in the media, and specifically singled out one of them for praise. The student who led his team to a perfect score is student Si-chen. As soon as the name was mentioned, Si-yun seemed to snap out of it and turned around abruptly. Her face showed clear disbelief. A perfect score, student Si-chen. In another development, unlike the cheerful atmosphere at Si-chen's home, Gong Ting was currently receiving punishment from his father, Gong Lin. The old man's voice sounded cold. I set the stage for you, and there was a full audience. Yet you ruined the performance. You didn't win. No, you lost to some unknown brat. From now on, you no longer have any autonomy. I've already arranged the supplementary assessment in 1 week. If you can't do it, I will do it for you. No matter what tactics I have to use. That brat must belong to our Gong family, he said with an icy expression. The screen continued reporting. The guild president said that Si-chen's performance was impressive and hoped that Dongtan-guo would continue to strive to cultivate more excellent talents. Si-yun shouted in surprise. Huh, brother, is the Si-chen they just mentioned on TV you? Si-chen asked while eating, what's wrong? Suddenly, the spoon fell to the ground and shattered. Outside in the high sky, thunder roared. The little girl panicked internally. Her brother, her own older brother, not only led his team to a perfect score in the graduation exam, but he was even praised by the vice president of the Guild Alliance. The atmosphere fell into silence, and everything became awkward. Then Si-yun shed tears of joy. My silly brother. She looked at him proudly, her expression full of admiration. You're truly outstanding. Opposite her was Si-chen's bewildered face. June 17, 2027, the day of the night session of the practical graduation exam. Cavendish remarked while eating. As expected, it's still the Wagyu specialty of Dongtan-guo, the freshest. How is progress on your side? His voice was directed toward the person sitting opposite him. Lin Vu reported, these are all the reports compiled so far. In the past year, it hasn't left behind any traces. It may have already discovered us. Cavendish replied, thank you for your hard work. You should eat the meat first. Suddenly, Lin Vu added, there is one more thing. I've also noticed a suspicious person recently. Not long ago, he just had contact with you. He's the one whose ability increased extremely rapidly in a short time, she emphasized. It's really too abnormal. At this moment, inside the magic tower on the first floor, after more than half a month of grinding, it seemed he had slaughtered all the magic beasts on this level. Si-chen had completely adapted to fighting in an environment with 10 times the gravity. After the graduation assessment, his electrical assassin class had gained 1 star. It turned out that frequent use of a certain profession could increase proficiency. This meant that the 4 professions currently in his hands had not yet reached their limit. The star Si-chen earned was added to the most important trait of an assassin, speed. His speed stat should have currently reached the level of an A-rank assassin. System, Speed X4, 740. But even so, he still couldn't land a hit on the boss of this level. In front of Si-chen were countless monsters waiting, their bodies emitting a terrifying power. A monster roared in anger and lunged toward him. Si-chen flared with power, responding with his electrical assassin skill, Flash God. His lightning bolt shot out, making it look back. The ability of this Lion King boss was very bizarre. Whenever he found an opportunity to attack, it would vanish in a flash, then appear next to a lioness at the position furthest from Si-chen. They adjusted their positions quickly according to the situation, but the formation remained unchanged. There were always 2 lionesses responsible for melee combat with him, and 2 others observing from afar, awaiting orders. And the Lion King always maintained the greatest distance from Si-chen. As a boss, it didn't even strike personally. What exactly was the profession of this Lion King? A leopard cub was continuously lunging at him. Si-chen quickly generated a lightning bolt to respond. The beast took the full hit and was quickly severely injured. Si-chen muttered while fighting, that move again. Every time he tried to kill a lioness, she would vanish immediately, then reappear beside the Lion King. As soon as he stopped, a lioness would lunge forward to bait him into attacking. Si-chen initiated his enhancement mode, unleashing his capabilities. He flew up high, throwing punches wildly. They maintained a perfect formation, coordinating without a single flaw. The beasts lashed out with claws, attacking endlessly, then carried out the next step, vanishing, and then appearing from a space-piercing ring, finally flying over to wound Si Chen and attack. He was inadvertently trapped in a difficult stalemate, repeating over and over, conducting an endless war of attrition against Si Chen. Si Chen looked at them with sharp, cold eyes, his breath heavy. This guy is completely toying with me. Suddenly, Si Chen's eyes widened as if he realized something. Wait, why was he risking his speed against them? Si Chen began to switch skills and change profession. If you don't want to confront me head-on, then why shouldn't I use the mage profession to deal with you? Profession switch complete, skeletal Ice King. Si Chen's body floated lightly in the air. Ice Mage, Bone Chill. At that same moment, a terrifying ice and snow explosion occurred, causing the beasts to scramble and flee in panic. The scene became increasingly chaotic with the terrifying power descending from the sky. Si Chen analyzed silently while fighting. Melee mages are weak, but excel in long-range attrition and control. The beasts turned their heads for a split second, only to be startled by the rays of light descending from the sky. Finally, the ground was covered by the terrifying magic he had created. Suddenly, the beasts took the opportunity to jump out of the barrier to escape, but they stopped in confusion when they saw they were surrounded on all sides. Once they were all forced into Si Chen's attack range, the beasts began to get scared, their roars shaking the sky. High above, Si Chen gently generated a mage spell, condensing a giant ice bomb. Then he used all his accumulated power and hurled it down. Finally, the entire space was enveloped in a dazzling light, obscuring all vision. The ferocious beasts from before were now frozen stiff. Mechanical sounds chimed continuously. Rakshasa Purgatory profession completed. Si Chen's voice sounded cold and firm in the space of the first floor of the magic tower. His eyes flashed with a vengeance as he declared, "It's time to end this." Finally, Si Chen unleashed a move that shocked the three realms. Tri-Aspect Warrior's Heavy Calamity, Super Heavy version. It was all over. The ground was left with only traces of ruins. The bodies of the beasts began to melt in an instant, then vanished into the icy chill of winter. Si Chen slowly descended to the ground, returning to his initial state. Spiritual energy enveloped his body. Si Chen leveled up to level 24, received Phantom Spirit Master Bone X4, and received Phantom Spirit Master Heart X1. Si Chen could still devour the fierce beast from earlier. He suddenly reached out his hand, creating a source of light. He asked himself curiously, "Now tell me, what on earth is your class?" The smoke began to dissipate into the glowing space. Si Chen was slowly subduing the soul of that fierce beast. His hand clenched tightly, holding everything that remained of it. The information screen quickly appeared. Phantom Spirit Master King Spirit Tamming. Pet Tamming Spirit Contract can forcibly establish memories with beast types, has a certain probability to recruit it as one's own contract beast. The greater the user's dominance, the higher the success rate. If the master sacrifices, the contract beast will also sacrifice. Pet Tamming Spirit Path Medicine Immortal consumes mental power to teleport to the side of the contract beast, or summons the contract beast to one's own side. He was surprised. Spirit Tamming, this is the first time I've seen this class. No wonder it didn't directly engage me in battle. It turns out its own attributes were not prominent enough, so it could only rely on the contract beast to deal damage. This space-penetrating ability is very useful. Si Chen's eyes became thoughtful. Furthermore, it can forcibly force beasts to sign contracts, but it requires dominance. It seems that to obtain this contract beast, I need to use harsher methods. He quickly realized the environment was undergoing changes. Is this the original version of the first floor of the magic tower? It's so desolate. What happened here? Suddenly, a crack appeared in front of Si Chen. The door to the second floor finally appeared. A pair of vicious eyes was revealed at the same time. Si Chen quickly sensed something strange and turned his head to look back. He heard a sound coming from the pile of dry bones. A small, fierce beast was being extremely vigilant towards Si Chen. He frowned, so there's actually a little lion left. It seems this is the last one remaining. The Lion King was killed by me, yet it didn't dissipate. This proves it is not the Lion King's contract beast. It has spirit-type chains on its body. Was it locked here by the phantom spirit Lion King? Then Si Chen lunged forward, covered in lightning. The little lion was stunned by that sight, its mouth hanging open. It turned out Si Chen was freeing it from the pile of dry bones. He said, "Then I'll grant you your freedom. This place is likely your home. Your companions are dead, your homeland destroyed. I am very familiar with this kind of feeling. Although you are very lonely, at least you must live well. I have to go to the next floor now." Suddenly, the system sound rang out unexpectedly. It reminded him, "You have received a Beast Clan contract request," when the other party voluntarily made the request. Si Chen was subconsciously surprised, turning his head back to look at the little lion. The system sound continued. "Can sign a contract. The Lion King cub requests to sign a contract with you. Do you agree? Si Chen's voice slowly rose. You want to follow me? The lion cub replied using its own unique sound. Si Chen explained further. Next, I will conquer the entire magic tower one floor at a time. Each floor we climb, the monsters will become more vicious. There might be injuries or even loss of life. Have you really thought it through? It responded to Si Chen with an intense, burning aura. Si Chen slowly closed his eyes and replied, I understand. Si Chen's eyes opened wide, deciding to agree to sign the contract. The system announced, Lion King Cub contract completed, passive skill activated. A moment later, Si Chen laughed and said, All right then, come with me. While I am fighting, you must protect yourself. Then he stepped into the space burning with the red color of fire. Si Chen immediately felt things become tense. Before his eyes was a gloomy space, carrying a feeling of heavy pressure. Si Chen inwardly evaluated. It's so hot. I feel like I could be melted at any moment. I wonder what I'll meet on this floor. Suddenly a blinding light shone out, drowning out all vision. Si Chen's eyes were drawn to it, so he turned his head to look. Suddenly, a large hole appeared on his body. Si Chen's eyes became dazed, not understanding what happened. Then Si Chen suddenly woke up, returning to his room. He didn't see anything before he was insta-killed. What kind of terrifying power is this? His eyes narrowed. What kind of monster is this second-floor monster? Right then, Si Yun's voice rang out from outside. Brother, go out and eat breakfast. The table was laid out with very attractive food. Si Chen was excited. This breakfast is so lavish. The little girl instructed. Remember to wash the dishes in the sink after you're done. Also, in half an hour, you have to hang out the laundry. He asked, Xiao Yun, why do you want to go out so early? Isn't it summer vacation? Si Yun replied. I'm going to my summer part-time job. Si Chen was dazed. Didn't I tell you that money matters should be left to me? The little girl turned her head and smiled, replying. With such an excellent brother, the younger sister doesn't want to be left behind either. Besides, isn't summer vacation boring anyway? I'm going now. Remember to wash the dishes and hang the clothes. A moment later, Si Chen washed the stack of dishes. He even began to hang the clothes out in the sun. Si Chen whispered to himself, Xiao Yun has always been like this, always tenacious and determined to live. Clearly she is still an immature child. But in front of her, I am the one being taken care of. After school ends, I will go to deal with the explosive Demon King. For a very long time, I won't be able to be by Xiao Yun's side. Xiao Yun is the only one I am worried about. Suddenly he realized something. Right. Si Chen closed his eyes and thought, maybe this could work. Suddenly a barrier opened behind him, and the lion cub fell out as a result. Si Chen's jaw dropped as he turned to look. So it is actually possible to summon a contract beast out of the dream magic tower. A moment later, it began to wreck everything around the room. He thought to himself, if it's like this, when I am not here, I can let it stay with Xiao Yun. If she is in danger, I can sense it and immediately run to her side. Xiao Yun has liked playing with cats and dogs since she was small. Now that it's changed to a lion cub, she will definitely be able to accept it. Right at that moment, there was a doorbell sound outside. He moved to open the door with hesitation. He looked at the lion cub and thought, will she be able to accept it? As the sunset gradually covered the city, the house's surveillance camera was accidentally broken. A person with a blood-covered body trembled. Don't come over. He screamed in fear. You after all. But then he was attacked repeatedly. His eyes widened with suspicion. After all, the old man's pupils only reflected the form of the monster. What kind of monster is this? In a dark corner of the neighborhood, a hapless person was targeted by the monster. Scene change. Si Yun was slowly walking on the road back home. She sighed tiredly. Finally off work. There are so many people buying bubble tea during the summer vacation. Standing all day is exhausting. Si Yun wondered, I wonder if he likes this flavor. Her tiny and lonely figure stood in the vast space. Suddenly, something prompted Si Yun to stop. She turned her head back, startled to hear a mysterious voice. Finally here. After that, we saw a young man walk out, his voice sounding confident. I've been waiting for you for a long time, Xiao Yun. It turned out to be Jin Duo Xin, a student from Clearwater High School. This character had appeared before. He strode forward with immense confidence, continuing. Last time at school you ran away too fast. I didn't even have time to hear your invitation. But it's okay. I've booked the entire rooftop of Purple Peak Tower for tonight. Hearing those words, Si Yun's expression immediately hardened, clearly being extremely uncomfortable. She looked straight at him and asked coldly, Where did you get my home address? The young man maintained his calm demeanor, replying, My dad is the director of the city hospital. Finding a bit of information like this is not difficult. At this point, Si Yun was clearly angry. She took a step forward, her tone firm and icy. We don't belong to the same world. Please don't come looking for me again." But the young man began to lose his cool. Slightly annoyed, he grabbed her hand and said, "Do you know how much effort it took to book an entire floor of Purple Peak Tower? I invited so many people. Do you intend to let me break my promise and become a laughing stock?" Without a second of hesitation, Si-yun retorted in a sharp and confident voice. "What reason do I have to care if you become a laughing stock? Furthermore, do you know that sneaking around outside someone else's house is a very creepy action?" The young man's face immediately darkened. With his pride severely wounded, he gritted his teeth. "Creepy? Do you know who you are talking to?" His face twisted in anger, his voice growing colder. "Just because I slightly like you, it doesn't mean you can talk to me like that." As his anger rose, he threatened, "You don't know what I can do to you." Before he could say another word, Si-yun reacted extremely quickly. In a moment of anger, she suddenly headbutted him hard in the face. The sudden collision made the young man completely lose his balance. While he staggered, Si-yun glared and said coldly, "You should go back to your father's hospital to check your head first." The young man clutched his face in pain, the bouquet in his hand falling to the ground. Si-yun didn't even bother to look at him again, turned and left. Her voice was icy and resolute. "Please stay away from me. You have completely ruined my mood today." The scene changed to the warm space at home. Upon stepping through the door, Si-yun's mood changed completely. The anger from earlier vanished cleanly. The moment she saw Leo, her face immediately lit up with joy. She rushed over, hugging the little lion cub warmly and happily, her voice full of excitement. "Where did you find such a cute creature?" Si-chen smiled calmly and replied, "His name is Leo. He is yours." Hearing that, Si-yun froze for a second, then her eyes widened in surprise. "Wait, am I really allowed to raise a lion cub?" She was clearly extremely happy. Looking at Leo more closely, she curiously said, "Wait, I remember only adult male lions grow manes. Why is Leo so tiny but his mane is already so big?" She began to think about officially registering to raise him, having already considered Leo a real member of the family. Witnessing this scene, Si-chen couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and feel happy. Seeing his sister so happy, he thought to himself, "Looks like the two of them became best friends at first sight. There's nothing left to worry about at home." Right at that moment, Si-chen's phone rang, breaking the peaceful atmosphere. An important notification, meant specifically for him, appeared on the screen. Just after reading it, the corner of Si-chen's mouth curled slightly into a subtle smile, as if everything had finally fallen into place. His eyes exuded a quiet sense of satisfaction, as if he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. After looking at the message, he muttered in a low and confident voice, "Finally, everything can proceed according to plan. Next is solving the tiebreaker. 6 more days." Scene time jump 6 days later. June 24, 2157, the day of the long-awaited tiebreaker. The setting shifted to the outskirts of the city at Green Lake Forest. Gong Chuan stepped out, his voice solemn and authoritative. "Two contestants participating in the tiebreaker, pay attention. Let me make the exam rules clear." He paused for a moment to ensure everyone was focused, then continued. "After careful consideration, the school decided that this tiebreaker will take place inside a wild dungeon located in Green Lake Forest." The words immediately made the atmosphere more tense. He continued, "Equipment surveys have confirmed this is a D-rank wild dungeon. According to the previous agreement, both contestants will be testing in the same dungeon." His voice turned more serious. "Inside a wild dungeon, it is entirely unexplored territory. The danger level far exceeds that of the standard school exam dungeons." He added, 3 high-level members from major guilds in Easternia have been sent as accompanying judges. They will enter the dungeon with the 2 examinees. Their task is to ensure safety and grade their performance in real time. The 3 judges were introduced. The first was Ivan, representing the Imperial Guild, whose aura exuded strength and authority. The second was Tiangu from the Divine Eye Guild, whose sharp gaze revealed keen insight and intelligence. The third was Sato Yuta of the Silver Wind Guild, who carried an air of calm and extensive experience. Gong Chuan concluded with a definitive statement. "The final score will be determined entirely by what the judges witness." The entire situation was being calculated coldly in Gong Lin's mind. His thinking was sharp, precise, and purposeful, as if every chess piece had been placed in its correct position beforehand. 3 judges, perform well and handle your parts correctly. Keep it clean. Leave no loopholes." Just then, the principal turned to the vice president and asked, "Vice President, your schedule in Dongtan Guo concluded 2 days ago, didn't it?" The question carried a hint of curiosity, as if wondering why someone of his status was still here. The vice president replied without hesitation, his voice full of interest and anticipation. Why ask that? Is there anything more interesting than what is about to happen right here? It has been many years since I last witnessed two true geniuses facing off against each other. I absolutely will not miss it. Immediately after, Gong Chuan stepped forward, announcing loudly in a solemn voice, "I hereby declare the combat graduation exam for Class 2157 of the National Awakener University. The tiebreaker match between Si Chen and Gong Lin officially begins." Both examinees stepped forward simultaneously, without a moment's hesitation, and entered the parallel teleportation gate. The moment they crossed, the environment changed completely. The three high-level judges followed closely behind. Upon setting foot inside, Tiangu looked around and remarked, "Dead trees stretch to the horizon. It looks like a flower dungeon." The atmosphere inside was extremely strange and stifling, with an unnatural silence enveloping everything. The moment Si Chen stepped inside, an anomaly occurred. A system window appeared before him, accompanied by a warning notification. "High-risk monster detected." Seeing this, even Si Chen showed clear surprise. He muttered, his voice slightly uneasy, "This is the first time I've seen Demen Heart issue a warning like this." Si Chen was incredibly shocked, because this was the first time his demon core had emitted such an emergency warning signal. But strangely, the warning signal vanished quickly, leaving behind a terrifyingly quiet atmosphere inside the cavern. Si Chen looked around the dark lair, wondering if a high-level monster truly existed in a place like this. Gong Ting walked in front with a long sword at his side. Both remained completely silent to maintain the highest level of vigilance. The judges followed behind. One of them spoke up to remind others that the rock layer was too thick, requesting that the supervisors not lose track of the examinees. Small stones were suddenly displaced on the ground, signaling that something was trying to emerge from the earth. Suddenly, a giant poisonous ant appeared, blocking their path. It was a toxic ant, also known as a D-rank flora sniper. Reacting extremely fast, Gong Ting immediately drew his glowing sword, preparing to fight. Shortly after, he lunged forward to attack. Sato Yuta from Silver Wind appeared quite impressed by Gong Ting's reaction speed, and reminded everyone that monsters in wild demon lairs were far more dangerous than those in school. The poisonous ant did not hesitate, and immediately sprayed streams of corrosive venom toward Gong Ting. Seeing this, Gong Ting swung his sword incessantly, blocking all the venom. As he closed in, one precise slash from his sword severed the monster's venom gland, instantly neutralizing its long-range attack capability. Not stopping there, Gong Ting pivoted and poured all his strength into the next strike. The sword pierced through the monster's hard armor, stabbing straight into a fatal weak point. The special skill of the nuclear warrior profession, titled Fiery Piercing Sword, was activated, creating a violent explosion right inside the poisonous ant's body. A loud explosion echoed throughout the cave. The monster was completely incinerated in the blink of an eye before the eyes of the judges. Tiangu from the Divine Eye Guild immediately awarded Gong Ting a perfect 10 for combat reaction for handling the ambush so quickly. The judge, who was smoking, also added 10 points for combat strategy upon seeing Gong Ting aim directly for his opponent's venom gland. Sato Yuta smiled in satisfaction and awarded another 10 points for finishing power after the final, decisive sword strike. Everyone had to acknowledge that from his fighting stance to his finishing move, every action Gong Ting took was as precise as a scalpel, far exceeding the level of an ordinary student. However, when Sato Yuta looked over at Si Chen, he began to feel that something was very strange. While Gong Ting had just finished fighting, Si Chen strolled along as if he were taking a walk, leading the judges to believe his performance was a complete failure. Even Gong Ting stopped and turned his head to look at Si Chen with a puzzled expression at his calm demeanor. At the command center, everyone was intently watching every move Si Chen made on the large screen. Kenan Cavendish smiled and turned to ask the principal, "What do you think Si Chen is truly searching for in this dangerous cave?" The principal replied, "Si Chen is looking for the ants." Inside the cave, Si Chen stood amidst the tangled tree roots and silently calculated how to score as many points as possible in a short amount of time. His eyes suddenly turned yellow. Si Chen smiled confidently and whispered, "Found them." Sparks of lightning began to appear around his body. Then Si Chen unleashed an attack onto the ground. A powerful electrical surge erupted, turning Si Chen into the center of a lightning storm amidst the swarm of monsters. That surge of power wiped out the surrounding poisonous ants, causing the ground to shake violently. The group of judges screamed in panic as they saw Si Chen charge deep into the demon lair. They believed this reckless action would put everyone in danger. Gong Ting followed the golden lightning with a look of complete astonishment. Doubts about Si Chen's true identity began to surface in his mind. With the lightning assassin profession, Si Chen activated the flash god skill, turning his body into a streak of golden light, moving at extreme speed. The golden lightning shot through the swarm of monsters like a light arrow, so fast that they could not react in time. A series of poisonous ants were sliced in two in the blink of an eye. Green venom splashed all over the cave walls. Si Chen continuously appeared and vanished amidst the monsters. Every place he passed was left littered with monster carcasses. He ended the attack sequence with a powerful landing, leaving a long trail of light cutting across the darkness. Amidst the piles of D-rank monster corpses and venom everywhere, Si Chen leisurely concluded his spectacular performance. The judges were completely stunned. Sato Yuda's jaw dropped, unable to understand what had just happened before his eyes. They could not believe that a person reported to be only E-rank could easily annihilate an entire swarm of such powerful D-rank monsters. In a secluded corner, Sato Yuda and the smoking judge whispered to each other. Even though Si Chen had just demonstrated extremely impressive power, they still tried to find reasons to give him a low score, claiming his fighting style was too simple or his actions too dangerous. Gong Ting also silently watched the protagonist. Cavendish started to laugh heartily. Haha, the old man was right after all. The exam has only just begun, and I've already seen such an intense confrontation. This is truly interesting. I wonder how Gong Ting will react next. Hearing him say that, Gong Lin's hand involuntarily clenched in anger. Suddenly, the monitoring screen began to scramble violently and lost signal completely. The red text "signal lost" appeared, causing everyone to be stunned. Everyone was confused. They did not understand why the system had encountered an issue at such a critical moment. At the control center at 4:00 p.m., alarm bells rang continuously. Technicians frantically manipulated controls to try and restore the malfunctioning system. The screen repeatedly displayed abnormal signal warnings. The danger level of the demon lair suddenly rose to an unknown level. While the signal dropped to 0, the technician was drenched in sweat, horrified to realize the situation was gradually spiraling out of control. He panicked and shouted, "What exactly is happening with this demon lair when all the data is becoming chaotic?" The portal leading into the cave suddenly became unstable, turning into a blue energy vortex that covered the entire entrance. In the blink of an eye, the cave entrance vanished completely. It vanished! Before them now was only a pitch-black stone wall. Inside the cave, Si Chen sensed a strange presence. Pink musical notes began to appear around him, causing Si Chen to whisper vigilantly. "What is this?" From deep within the darkness, a pair of fiery red eyes gradually emerged, along with an oppressive voice. Si Chen instantly recognized that voice. It was the voice of a demon king. 4:00 p.m., outside the demon's lair dungeon, the monitoring system suddenly reported an abnormal signal. Right before everyone's eyes, the cave entrance vanished without a trace. Everyone was clueless about what was happening. Gong Chuan panicked, sweat streaming down his face. He shouted for his subordinates to immediately request reinforcements from superiors, as he had a premonition that something extremely dangerous was happening inside the lair. Meanwhile, inside, strange pink musical notes began to float everywhere. Si Chen stood amidst the dense fog and felt an highly unusual pressure. Gong Ting also realized something was wrong. He frowned, looking around vigilantly, his heart filled with suspicion. Tiebreaker turned to ask those nearby, "Can you hear any sound?" Sato nodded in confirmation. "Yes, it seems something very strange is happening." The sound of a heart beating thudded rapidly in Si Chen's head. At first, he thought it was music, but then he realized in shock that it was the voice of the wrathful demon king. Si Chen did not understand why the voice of wrath appeared in this dungeon. According to his memories, wrath was not supposed to appear for another 3 years. The demon core inside Si Chen's body continued to emit a series of rapid warnings, signaling that danger was very close. Suddenly, Si Chen stopped. He felt that something was following right behind him. Heavy footsteps echoed amidst the cold fog. Terrifying, cackling laughter echoed throughout the cave. A blurred black figure gradually appeared behind the dense fog. Tiebreaker and Sato also discovered the anomaly. They squinted, looking through the mist, trying to identify what was approaching. A pair of pink eyes suddenly glowed brightly in the darkness, accompanied by the slow but oppressive footsteps of a bizarre creature. A giant mantis gradually emerged amidst the strange black silk threads. Its body was covered in sharp spikes and possessed an extremely evil appearance. Its mouth emitted a ghastly laughter. It looked at the group with contemptuous eyes, then spoke in a cold voice. "Hee, humans, you have fallen into my trap." Sato could not believe his ears. He angrily shouted, "What the hell is this? What are you talking about?" A monster that could speak human language was beyond imagination. Everyone instantly realized its danger level. A monster that can speak human language. It must be at least C rank or above. How could something like that appear in a D rank dungeon? Realizing the extreme danger, Sato immediately charged to attack. He insisted that this type of monster was too dangerous for the examinees. Holding a pink energy axe in his hand, he shouted for everyone to back away. But in the blink of an eye, a sharp cut appeared on Sato's arm. A swishing sound rang out. Blood sprayed as his arm and the axe were severed completely. The mantis moved too fast, leaving everyone stunned. Sato and the others just stood frozen in terror at the cruel scene that had just occurred. The mantis continued to dash at incredible speed. It spoke coldly. "All of you must." Its sharp scythe pierced through the chest of Gong Ting, red blood spraying violently. It was a critical attack that no one could react to. The monster brought its terrifying face close and finished its sentence. "Die here." Gong Ting gritted his teeth to endure the excruciating pain. Blood poured from the corner of his mouth, but his gaze remained remarkably resolute. Even with his chest pierced, he still swung his fire sword forcefully, severing the monster's claw. The mantis showed clear surprise when it saw the person whose heart had been pierced was still strong enough to launch such a powerful counterattack. Gong Ting unleashed an extremely powerful kick, sending the monster flying far away to free himself. The monster was pushed back, sliding along the ground before regaining its balance. Gong Ting clutched his bleeding wound and looked at Si Chen, saying, "Si Chen, he struck me first." His eyes burned with fire. He arrogantly declared, "According to priority rules, that monster belongs to me. You are not allowed to interfere." Si Chen silently looked at Gong Ting with a serious gaze. He understood that Gong Ting's determination could not be shaken. Si Chen's eyes turned green as he activated his analysis skill to check the true strength of his opponent. Initially, the system displayed the opponent at mid-C rank. As for the monster, it was high C rank. The danger level of the monster had increased significantly. Tiangu panicked when he saw Gong Ting's serious injury. "Lord Gong Ting, you need treatment immediately. I suggest stopping the exam and retreating immediately. This monster is too dangerous even for you." Gong Ting coldly replied with a short sentence, "No." He placed his hand, which was burning intensely, onto the wound piercing his chest. Flames erupted violently right before Si Chen's eyes. Si Chen instantly understood the action, using high heat to cauterize the wound. This was a very dangerous method, but extremely effective. Black smoke rose from the charred flesh. Gong Ting roared with determination. "I reject your suggestion. This battle must continue." The mantis was also unafraid. It lunged to continue facing Gong Ting's fiery next attack. Gong Ting swung his fire sword and jumped high. His gaze was full of murderous intent, preparing to unleash a finishing move. Outside the cave, Lin Vu stood looking at the entrance that had vanished strangely. He explained that this was not rare, and it proved that the demons in this dungeon were extremely intelligent. With a cold expression, Lin Vu added that the dungeon intentionally opened the entrance to lure humans in, then closed it to trap them as prey. Gong Xuan panicked and asked, "Is there any other way to open the door, because Gong Ting is still trapped inside?" Lin Vu insisted that there was only one way to open the path out, and that was to destroy the dungeon's lord. Hearing this, Gong Xuan immediately breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that in a D-rank dungeon, the strongest lord would only be C rank, so it shouldn't be too hard to destroy. But Lin Vu immediately extinguished that hope. He revealed that the labeled D-rank dungeon was only a disguise for the monster inside. Lin Wu's gaze became grave. He believed this place was most likely the source behind the series of mysterious disappearances of awakened ones over the past while. With sweat covering his face, Taiyu tremblingly realized they were facing an extremely dangerous dungeon. The terrifying truth was finally revealed when Lin Wu declared, "This is actually a deadly rank B dungeon." The giant mantis shrieked, its eyes glowing with a threatening pinkish-purple hue. Clashing sounds echoed repeatedly as Gong Ting and the monster lunged at each other in a dance of death. Gong Ting retreated after a barrage of attacks. The sword in his hand radiated a brilliant golden glow, dispelling the dungeon's shadows. The monster snarled, swinging its two sharp sides as it lunged forward with terrifying speed. Gong Ting dodged the attack with a leap into the air. As an experienced combatant, he grasped the rhythm of the battle exceptionally well. The impact was so strong that the ground shattered, causing the mantis's scythe to become firmly embedded in the stone floor. "Opening found, I've got you now." Seeing his opponent expose an opening, Gong Ting swung his sword for the finishing blow. A sharp blade arc cut across, The mantis's head flew off along with a splash of green blood. The head rolled across the ground. A relatively easy victory for Gong Ting. The battle temporarily ended. The atmosphere in the cave fell silent. Everyone was still stunned by what Gong Ting had just displayed. Tai Yu stared at the monster's head in amazement. She had not expected Gong Ting to actually take down the mantis by himself. Si Chen looked toward Gong Ting with a pensive expression. He admitted that Gong Ting's power was truly not to be underestimated. In the back, Examiner Ivan was using green energy to heal Sato. Hey, can you hear me? You should have been awake by now. Sato groaned, thanking Ivan for arriving just in time. But when looking down at the communication bracelet on his wrist, Sato suddenly froze in shock. The screen displayed a bright red X, indicating a loss of signal. He panicked upon realizing they had been cut off from communication with the outside world. Upon hearing this, Tai Yu hurriedly checked her device and realized the same was true for her. All signals were blocked, and the compass navigation system was completely broken. A small sound caught their attention. Looking down at their feet, they saw the camera drones were also completely useless. The sound of the examiners discussing attracted Gong Ting's attention. He, too, did not understand what was happening. Right then, the headless corpse of the boss suddenly let out dry cracking sounds and slowly stood up. A black-purple aura enveloped its body. Gong Ting was completely unaware that the monster was still alive and had appeared behind him. But before the monster could take Gong Ting down, Si Chen suddenly lunged in, unleashing golden energy sword strikes that hacked the monster into small pieces. The system displayed a notification. Received 2,000 experience points. While Gong Ting was still in shock, he asked in confusion, I already cut off its head, how could it still move? Si Chen kept his cool as he explained. That thing wasn't the boss from the start. It has been hypnotized the whole time. That's why it kept fighting even after it was dead. He looked straight at the group of hunters and warned, all of you leave this place immediately, because the next person to be hypnotized might just be you. Gong Ting broke into a cold sweat, staring at Si Chen, wanting to know how he could have known that. Sato angrily dismissed Si Chen's words as nonsense, insisting there was only one rank C boss in this cave. Sato continued to assert that the monster must be at least a high-level rank C, surely the lord of the dungeon. Suddenly, Si Chen's ears buzzed with uncomfortable static. The system continuously displayed red warnings about an extremely dangerous creature nearby. Waves of ghostly pinkish-purple sound began to spread, covering the entire cave space. Tai Yu was the first to be affected, her eyes turning pink as she completely lost consciousness. Neither Examiner Ivan nor Sato escaped the attack. Si Chen quickly pulled out his earphones and put them on to protect himself. Watching the energy circles diffusing, he spoke in a low voice. That sound wave, I could recognize it anywhere. Memories of his past life came flooding back hauntingly. In his previous life, Zhengju had used this very frequency. That sound wave could hypnotize and massacre millions of ordinary people across the world. Even Zai Yun had died in that tragedy, and the same thing was happening in this cave. But according to the script from his past life, it was not yet time for the wrath to appear. Tai Yu and the others walked silently to a strange rhythm, heading deep into the dungeon's darkness. Si Chen calmly followed, his eyes filled with vigilance. Si Chen concluded that the lord of this cave must certainly have a connection to the wrath. The group entered a cellar full of gloomy eggs and spider silk. Si Chen guessed it was time to face the owner of this place directly. The long, dark shadows of the hunting group were cast onto the cave walls under the eerie purple light, signaling that a fierce battle was about to begin. The deeper they went into the cave, the more frequent and continuous the red warnings from the system became, signaling that an extremely dangerous creature was nearby. Before them was a gloomy lair with countless glowing monster eggs, where a mysterious entity reigned from above with a swarm of giant snakes. The group walked silently past piles of white bones and dilapidated equipment, evidence of the tragic fate of the hunters who had once stepped foot here. Looking into the void, Si Chen inwardly determined. Another alpha frequency used for hypnosis, just like the wrath. Luckily, I prepared the beta anti-frequency track in case of the day I met him again. Si Chen looked anxiously at the teammates being controlled. These people had no protection against hypnosis. They could die at any moment. Si Chen knew he had to end this quickly. From high above, the mysterious white-robed entity began to speak with a hungry tone, upon seeing the abundance of nutrients. It looked down at the hunting group as if viewing top-tier, fresh goods. The eerie whispering echoed throughout the cave. The monster did not realize that Si Chen was completely unaffected by the hypnosis, and was looking at it with the eyes of the Grim Reaper. Memories of Gong Ting's childhood were finally revealed, Gong Ting panted amidst the blood-stained training yard. His small hands still gripped the broken wooden sword so tightly it cut his skin. Blood ran down the 8-year-old boy's arm, dripping onto the cold stone floor. Above on the high steps, Gong Lin watched silently. His eyes lacked any emotion of a father, holding only the absolute coldness of a ruler. He calmly declared, "Very good, today you won again." Gong Ting was covered in injuries, but Gong Lin didn't even look at the boy once. He slowly continued, "The winner gets to eat dinner at home, while the loser kneels there until the sun rises." A bone-chilling night shrouded the Gong family training grounds. The sound of his stomach growling echoed in agony. Then, right at that moment, a loaf of bread unexpectedly appeared before Gong Chang. Gong Ting's face was covered in bruises, but his eyes remained sharp. "Eat it!" Gong Chang started in panic. "If father sees this, you will be punished." Gong Ting frowned. "Shut up, eat it quickly." Not long after, in the house, smack, a terrible slap landed directly on Gong Ting's face, causing him to collapse onto the floor. Gong Ting knelt on the floor, his face bloodied after the ruthless beating. Before him stood Gong Lin, the father, as well as the ghost that had haunted his entire life. He stood tall in the center of the dark room, slowly asking, "Do you know why the Gong family stands above all?" Without waiting for Gong Ting to answer, Gong Lin continued speaking with an arrogant voice. "Because I have never failed. The winner is the one who sets the rules, while the loser can only bow in obedience." The atmosphere was suffocatingly heavy, but Gong Ting only lifted his head, his eyes full of defiance. "If I defeat you, then from now on the rules will be written by me, right?" The room fell silent. Gong Lin sneered, a laugh both contemptuous and terrifying. Memories continued to surface like nightmares. Wooden swords shattered across the floor. Time passed quickly. At this moment, the battle between the father and son took place. However, Gong Lin let others fight in his stead. Gong Ting's body was covered in injuries, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth after hundreds of harsh battles. He gritted his teeth and asked his father, "Why, when I challenged you, did you let the King Squad fight me?" Gong Lin smiled sinisterly. He asserted once again, "True power does not lie in the hands, but in the authority behind them. This world is unfair, justice does not exist, and mercy does not exist. One must win at all costs. Even if one must abandon family, betray teammates, or bury all dreams, one must still stand above all. Victory is the only value that exists in this world." And from that day on, those teachings seemed to be etched into Gong Ting's very flesh and blood. Returning to the present, the Overlord lurked amidst countless black tentacles and rows of giant egg cocoons clinging to the cave walls. Si Chen immediately realized the problem. This monster was using alpha waves to hypnotize everyone in the dungeon, exactly like the wraith before. Luckily, he had prepared the beta frequency track to counter that mental influence. But the others did not. The moment the Overlord gave the order, they would instantly turn into murderous puppets. Stray yellow sparks began to dance around Si Chen's arms. The electric light tore through the darkness. He clenched his fist. "I must end this right now." But just as Si Chen prepared to lunge, a blood-soaked hand suddenly grabbed his shoulder. Si Chen startled as he turned back. It was Gong Ting, blood still flowing from his chest. Gong Ting had stabbed himself to stay awake and resist the hypnosis. Even Si Chen was momentarily stunned by this action. Gong Ting panted, his eyes still terrifyingly sharp. "I have my own ways of not being manipulated," he warned. "If you act recklessly and reveal our position, everyone here will die." Gong Ting slowly pointed at the giant cocoons trembling faintly around the cave. "Inside those are rows of sleeping rank sea monsters. A single small explosion, a single stray strike, and all those monsters will wake up at once." Gong Ting immediately analyzed the Overlord's entire deadly trap. The monster deliberately turned this place into a low-level dungeon to lure awakened ones in, then drain their energy bit by bit. Gong Ting concluded, "Sooner or later that entity will come to us itself." He suggested they should hide, wait for it to get close, and finish it in one blow, an extremely reckless plan, but also their only chance at survival. Si Chen began to look at Gong Ting with different eyes. He hadn't expected this crazy warrior to be this calm and calculated, but Si Chen just looked coldly at the Overlord floating in the darkness and slowly replied, "That plan won't work, because the Overlord doesn't need to do it itself." The words barely finished before the boss monster started using sound to control the others. Si Chen lowered his voice. "As long as it thinks it, all those controlled will immediately slaughter us." Meanwhile, the remaining hunters had fallen into a state of total hypnosis. Their eyes were empty, saliva drooling from their mouths like those who had lost all consciousness. Even more terrifying, Tai Yu was pointing her own gun at her head. Her finger was right on the trigger, ready to fire at any moment under the Overlord's command. Even the strong men did not escape that control. Ivan was strangling himself in agony, his face turning purple from lack of oxygen. Si Chen immediately sprung into action before the tragedy could occur. He moved with extreme speed, unleashing precise strikes to knock each person out and save them from the hypnotic state. And this action also caught the Overlord's attention, letting it know he was not hypnotized. Very quickly, the Overlord became angry. It hadn't expected someone to be stealing its food. Under the Overlord's control, the giant cocoons around the room began to crack. Shattering sounds echoed everywhere, signaling a new wave of attacks was about to begin. Terrifying mantises slowly crawled out of their cocoons. They had 2 arms sharp as blades and glowing pink eyes full of killing intent. The Overlord roared, ordering the attack. There were 7 rank C blade arm mantises, extremely ferocious and bloodthirsty. Gong Ting suppressed the pain from his chest wound. He understood that this was the time to use his final plan. Gong Ting turned to look at Si Chen with a determined gaze. He requested only one thing: get those 3 out of the dungeon. I will stay behind to block them. Si Chen looked at Gong Ting silently, seemingly quite surprised by this teammate's sacrifice. Gong Ting said, I know I can't defeat the entire pack of rank C monsters, but I believe I can buy enough time for everyone to escape. At this moment, the mantises let out gruesome shrieks, then simultaneously lunged at the 2 remaining conscious hunters. The sound of metal clashing rang out violently as Gong Ting charged alone into the monster encirclement. Gong Ting knew full well he was the reason everyone ended up here. He was the one who dragged the team into this hellish battle. Amidst a barrage of the monster's sharp attacks, Gong Ting's golden-orange sword swung continuously and powerfully. He panted heavily, blood and sweat running down his face, but Gong Ting did not back down. He believed he had to be the one to deal with the consequences of his own actions. Seeing this, Si Chen smiled faintly. He finally admitted that he had misjudged Gong Ting. Right at that moment, the system began the conversion process. Golden lightning erupted, covering Si Chen's entire body. Thunderbolts appeared continuously, creating immense pressure throughout the dungeon. Ahead of them was an army of monsters. Their hissing echoed through the cave like thousands of blades scraping against his eardrums. The atmosphere inside the cave was thick with killing intent, so heavy that even breathing became difficult. And at the center of it all, the Overlord in a white cloak stood tall amidst the darkness. But Si Chen's eyes held no worry. He declared he would take down this Overlord, but Gong Ting immediately spoke up to stop him. Don't act without thinking. He stared at the Overlord Rasa Inferno, his voice trembling with fear. We can't beat this thing. I can see it very clearly. This thing is on a completely different level from us. It has definitely reached rank A. Looking at his teammates lying on the floor, Gong Ting once again demanded Si Chen take everyone away immediately. It was the only thing they could do right now. Si Chen stood still, his back exuding a strange sense of resolve. He slowly replied, Indeed, this monster is truly a nightmare, I won't deny that. But the dungeon gates have been completely locked. If not, the Imperial Guild surely would have broken in a long time ago. Gong Ting was stunned, his face turning pale with shock. He couldn't believe their only way out had been completely cut off. Si Chen kept a terrifyingly calm expression, his eyes fixed straight ahead. Currently, Si Chen could not see the monster's level. If Rasa Inferno had truly reached rank A, this situation had far exceeded the capacity for a conventional confrontation. Si Chen immediately associated the power of this entity with the Phantom Lion King in the deep floors of the magic tower. A mantis shrieked piercingly and lunged straight at them with terrifying speed. Si Chen reacted as quickly as lightning. The sound of clashing metal rang out as the golden electricity blocked the monster's blade. Another monster immediately lunged to attack Si Chen from another direction, its claws aimed straight at his head. Gong Ting shouted in panic, Watch out! Right after, Gong Ting charged in, coordinating perfectly with Si Chen to eliminate the 2 monsters. However, the insect monster army kept hissing, frantically charging forward like an endless tide. Gong Ting gradually felt desperate as the number of monsters kept increasing. At this rate, being swallowed by those creatures was only a matter of time. A massive bolt of lightning began to converge in Si Chen's palm, lighting up a corner of the cave. He finally unleashed his true skill. The skill Electric Blade was officially activated. Lightning bolts shot out from Si Chen's position, sweeping through the entire swarm of monsters surrounding them. Each bolt carried terrifying power. The monsters were pierced through by violent thunder swords. Their bodies exploded, green body fluids splashing everywhere under the scorching heat of the electrical energy. Immediately after, Si Chen continued to use the skill Flash God. His body turned into a streak of golden light moving at impossible speed, leaving behind only faint afterimages. Consecutive explosions echoed throughout the battlefield. Wherever Si Chen appeared, the monsters there were torn to shreds in the blink of an eye. Witnessing this scene, Gong Ting was left speechless. He stammered, unable to believe his eyes, as this was absolutely impossible for a standard assassin. In most people's perception, the assassin class possessed very low base strength stats, and usually became a liability when facing a large number of enemies. Yet Si Chen proved the exact opposite. Every slash of his struck accurately at the monsters, critical points with absolute precision. He used speed and technique at an extremely high level to fully compensate for the gap in raw strength. Si Chen was carrying out an overwhelming massacre right before his teammates' eyes. Gong Ting's eyes widened, trying to keep up with Si Chen's lightning-fast movements. He realized he was witnessing a completely different level of combat. The monsters were wiped out in droves, creating a chaotic scene with countless golden lightning arcs weaving through the space. This power had clearly reached rank A. Seeing a ray of hope flash by, Gong Ting gripped the hilt of his sword tightly. A bold idea began to form in his mind. Gong Ting began to feel that they actually had a chance to turn the tables. The overlord entity suddenly spoke up, its voice full of annoyance at the stubborn resistance of the two tiny humans. A violent explosion of purple-pink energy erupted. The overlord used its ultimate enhancement skill, Enhancement, on all 7 monsters. A series of power and stamina stats for the monsters skyrocketed in an instant. Their bodies began to transform, their outer shells becoming significantly thicker and harder. After being enhanced, the monsters became much larger and more ferocious. They quickly surrounded Si Chen, forming a high-pressure ring of death. The overlord coldly ordered its subordinates, "Tear him into tiny pieces." Its fury engulfed the entire cave. Facing the monsters that had been powered up, Si Chen remained completely unshaken. The golden lightning around his body flared even more violently. Preparing for the next counterattack, a massive strike carrying purple energy slammed into the ground where Si Chen was standing. Si Chen accelerated, using the mantis's giant claw as a ladder to reach its head. He launched himself into the air, continuously unleashing attacks on the mantis's head. The golden light trails left behind after each of Si Chen's attacks looked like brilliant ribbons of lightning. Below, Gong Ting was pouring all his strength into his sword, preparing for a decisive strike. He silently called out Si Chen's name, hoping he could hold on just a little longer. Si Chen concentrated to his limit, his eyes glowing with lightning amidst the suffocating, tense atmosphere. The electricity around him began to roar louder than ever before. Si Chen's slashes were so fast that the naked eye could barely track them. A series of deafening explosions rang out as the 7 monsters collapsed one by one under the wrath of the golden lightning. With their overwhelming numbers, one monster quickly approached Si Chen from behind. But before it could unleash its attack, Si Chen vanished. Immediately after, like a ghost, Si Chen appeared behind the monster, giving it no time to react. A slash carrying the power of thunder slammed straight into the enemy. Power continued to erupt violently. The monster roared crazily, as if wanting to swallow its opponent whole. Immediately after, it launched an attack. The monster's strike knocked Si Chen backward, but it was not enough to injure him. After sliding across the ground, Si Chen came to a stop. After a short beat to catch his breath, Si Chen realized the situation was becoming more dangerous as the monsters had been enhanced to B-rank power levels. Their outer shells were now as hard as steel, completely protecting their vital weak points. Si Chen understood that he had to find a way to break this defense as soon as possible. At that exact moment, Gong Ting's voice echoed from behind, a thank you offered amidst the chaotic battlefield, signaling that he had completed his preparations. The entire cave instantly lit up with a massive surge of fire energy bursting from Gong Ting's body. He had traded all his defensive capabilities to push his offensive power to the maximum, preparing to unleash his strongest attack after Si Chen successfully completed the task of stalling for time. 5:30 p.m. at Si Chen's apartment. Zhu Tong, Si Yun's classmate, arrived with a bag of drinks. "Sorry for making you wait so long, buying things took longer than expected." Si Yun waved her hand. "It's okay because brother Si Chen isn't home yet." Zhu Tong was slightly surprised to hear that. Both sat down at the dinner table. Zhu Tong curiously asked, "Has Si Chen heard that you got into the Academy of Arts yet?" Si Yun shook her head. "Not yet. But I told my brother that today I have something extremely important to tell him." Let's just eat first, he's going to be home late anyway. Just as they were about to start the meal, Si-Yun discovered that the jar of garlic sauce had been empty for a long time. She hurriedly put on her coat and told Zhu Tong, "You stay here and wait. Leo and I will run out and buy some quickly. By the way, I'll buy some extra snacks so we can celebrate properly tonight." Si-Yun popped into a convenience store. After paying, she leisurely stepped out with her shopping bag into the sunset. Strolling under the sunset, Si-Yun smiled and patted Leo's head. "You really are a well-behaved little angel." Leo was busy chewing on the food in the bag, which is why they didn't hear any noise since they left. Si-Yun pampered Leo as she walked, even promising, "Next time, sister will buy you more cookies." She was still enjoying the peaceful moment without knowing anything. From the corner of a building, a figure was silently observing her every move. The gaze was full of scrutiny and danger. They were two men who looked quite dangerous. One was smoking while confirming to his accomplice, "Target is in sight." He held up a photo of Si-Yun to confirm. The other asked, "So, should we act now to take her?" The leader ordered, "Stay calm and follow her. Just wait until she leaves the area with surveillance cameras, then we'll act and wrap this up cleanly." Footsteps followed silently behind Si-Yun. The sound of shoes hitting the floor sounded threatening in the deserted alley. But Si-Yun was not naive. She had realized someone was tailing her the moment she stepped out of the store, wondering to herself what they wanted. The two strangers kept following, keeping a certain distance but full of pressure. Leo in the bag also began to growl a threatening warning. Si-Yun whispered, "It seems like he has also sensed the murderous intent aimed at us." She pulled her jacket tight and told Leo, "Just hide carefully inside. Absolutely do not come out in this situation." Si-Yun's eyes suddenly became worried. "It looks like we have to take a gamble." Meanwhile, at the dungeon, Gong Ting was pouring all his strength into activating his maximum power state to unleash his final finishing blow. Extreme Blaze Rift, the nuclear warrior's strongest move, was launched. Gong Ting roared, "I swear I will blow this A-rank overlord away." No matter how strong it was, the massive flames burning from Gong Ting's sword swept through, colliding powerfully with the monster's dark energy. A massive explosion erupted instantly. Dazzling light covered a vast battlefield. All the monsters swept up by the attack vanished into ash. The destructive attack hit the Overlord's center point directly, but the monster could not dodge in time. A pillar of fire engulfed the Overlord. Its heat seemed to want to incinerate everything around it. A thunderous explosion echoed. The aftershock from the ultimate move created an extremely terrifying scene. Gong Ting collapsed from exhaustion, having to drive his sword into the ground to keep himself from falling. All his physical strength, mental control, and elemental energy had been completely drained after that strike. Gong Ting panted, his eyes blearily looking toward the ruins, believing that everything had finally ended and the monster had been destroyed. The dust and smoke gradually cleared, revealing a devastated scene with monster carcasses scattered all around. Gong Ting wheezed, confirming the victory. However, from within the blurred mist, a cold voice rang out, full of sarcasm. "Is that all the power you have?" Si Chen stood from afar, observing with a surprised expression. While Gong Ting was shocked to realize the monster was still alive, the rank boss slowly emerged from the smoke, completely unscathed. It looked at Gong Ting with disdain, mocking the disappointing weakness of humanity. Gong Ting was stunned. He had poured all his strength into the attack, but it was completely ineffective. The monster still stood tall, without a single scratch after Gong Ting's final attack. Si Chen stared fixedly at the entity before him. In his mind, he had already begun making his own calculations for the next step. Si Chen quickly realized. Just before being hit, the monster had managed to drain energy from the surrounding demon eggs to create an impenetrable shield. Gong Ting gasped in despair, looking at his sword, which had run out of flaming energy. He wondered if this was truly the end. At that moment, Si Chen nonchalantly stepped behind Gong Ting and made an unexpected offer. "Let's make a deal." Si Chen said he would yield the first-place glory to Gong Ting, in exchange for all $1 million in prize money belonging to him. Immediately, the system began to announce that Si Chen was switching professions to a new class. Si Chen's hand tightened around his sword, which was glowing with purple magic power. He prepared to act, but didn't forget to reiterate a prerequisite. Si Chen officially revealed himself in his powerful level 24 Inferno Jakasa form. He coldly warned Gong Ting, "Don't you dare whisper a word to anyone about what you are about to witness." Gong Ting was stunned, his mouth agape in amazement. The concept of a dual-class user, pink-purple spiritual energy streams, began to be drained from the carcasses of the thousands of monsters strewn across the battlefield. Everything was sucked back toward the center where Si Chen was standing. The system announced, Si Chen had activated the Stellar Warrior profession's ultimate skill, collapse. All physical strength and power from those who had fallen were swallowed, causing his stats to skyrocket dizzily. Gong Ting was completely overwhelmed by the terrifying pressure, radiating from the person he had always looked down upon. Even the A-rank overlord began to feel uneasy. Si Chen took a deep breath. His demonic fangs were clearly visible as his body completed the total assimilation of power from the monster's corpses. With fiery red demonic horns and eyes radiating cold, icy blue murderous intent, Si Chen in his Inferno Jakasa form officially entered the battle. He coldly asserted to Gong Ting, "This overlord monster, I will finish it off with my own hands." The wraith mage began to use its skills. A wave of terrifying pressure spread throughout the space. Glowing red eyes beneath the robes uttered the whispers of souls. A green energy orb exploded, creating a series of shockwaves that seemed to choke everything in the vicinity. Gong Ting knelt down, clutching his head in pain. He didn't expect the monster to use this skill. To avoid being hypnotized, he bit down on his sword blade, using the pain to keep himself conscious. Contrary to his teammates' struggle, Si Chen stood firm. His cold, azure eyes did not waver in the face of the mental attack. The wraith mage was stunned. Its fiery red eyes widened in surprise. It could not understand how an ordinary human could resist its skill. Si Chen slowly stepped forward. The sound of his boots echoed evenly on the ground. The monster shrieked in panic. Why doesn't hypnosis work on you?" Refusing to accept defeat, the wraith mage began gathering energy to unleash a finishing blow. It poured all its magic power into an attack called Finishing Move Sonic Hell. Crimson soundwave rings exploded from the protective barrier, sweeping everything in their path with terrifying destructive power. But Si Chen remained calm, while Gong Ting had to try his hardest just to stand firm. Affected by the attack, multiple wounds appeared on Gong Ting's body, with blood constantly spraying out, looking incredibly terrifying. Fiery red rays emitted from the wraith mage's body as if wanting to swallow the space. It believed this blow would crush every enemy. But when the dust cleared, it revealed Si Chen's confident face with sharp fangs and a cold smile. He looked more like a monster than the opponent itself. The sound of Si Chen's footsteps continued to echo steadily on the arid ground. Each sound was like a dagger stabbing straight into the mage's confidence. The wraith mage began to truly panic. It could not believe its eyes when it saw Si Chen was completely unharmed by the Sonic Hell skill. "This is impossible. Why can't I hurt you?" The wraith mage screamed in despair as it saw its authority trampled. "Tear him apart for me. Grind him into 100 pieces." In fear, the wraith mage summoned giant black serpents to charge and attack Si Chen. Si Chen did not flinch. He spun and swung his weapon. A blade path carrying cold, purple flames tore through space. A giant snake's head was sliced off, black blood splattering everywhere. The giant snake writhed on the ground in pain and quickly lost its ability to fight. Right at this moment, the wraith mage continued to order the giant snakes to rush and attack. Si Chen was like a grim reaper dancing among the monsters. Each sharp slash tore the monsters into multiple pieces, turning them into piles of minced meat, blood staining the entire space red. Si Chen took momentum and then leaped into the air, charging straight toward the wraith mage's protective orb. Realizing Si Chen's intent, the wraith mage thought he was acting in vain because its defensive system was impregnable. Responding to that confidence, Si Chen leaped into the air, unleashing a powerful slash accompanied by a sarcastic question. "Really?" He activated the ocean collapse skill. All energy from the surrounding corpses was drained, pushing Si Chen's power to the maximum. A direct slash descended. The shield shattered like glass before Si Chen's terrifying power. The monster stared in shock as its defense was smashed to pieces. Even now, it could not believe why Si Chen was so strong. Gong Ting from afar was also speechless. He was terrified to see Si Chen had broken the boss's protection in a single strike. Who the hell is he? Si Chen did not give his opponent time to counterattack. His fist glowed with energy once again, preparing for the finishing blow. Immediately after, the triple cataclysm crushing mode skill was activated. Si Chen's fist pierced through the monster's body. A earth-shattering explosion rang out when the monster's body collided with the ground. No way. The dust gradually settled, revealing the wraith mage's body, now just a mangled carcass groaning in despair amidst the ruins. Si Chen stepped forward coldly. His eyes had turned a fiery red full of murderous intent. He stepped on his enemy and ordered, "Tell me, what relationship do you have with Wrath?" The wraith mage trembled upon hearing that name. It asked back in surprise, "You? How could you know the name of the demon king of Wrath?" Si Chen's gaze became even more terrifying, He repeated his demand decisively. "Answer me now." The mage laughed insanely in its death throes. "If I knew where Wrath was, I would have gone to break the seal to save him instead of lying here." "Break the seal?" Si Chen was surprised to hear this information. He didn't expect someone as powerful as the Demon King of Wrath to be sealed away by some mysterious force. Despite his body gradually dissolving into black smoke, the Wraith Mage did not stop laughing arrogantly in front of Si Chen. "Just you wait. Lord Wrath will return soon." It screamed its final threat while its body slowly disappeared. The Wraith Mage declared that the Demon King would lead an army of demons back to slaughter these useless humans. Terrifying laughter echoed throughout the cave. Si Chen stood still in the middle of the ruined battlefield. After defeating the Wraith Mage, Si Chen's gluttony skill began to activate. An energy mass was sucked tightly into his palm. The swallowing status bar was gradually filling up. The swallowing process complete notification appeared. Si Chen had successfully snatched the power of the Wraith Mage, a ghost-type mage with incredibly terrifying stats and skill. A burst of golden light surrounded Si Chen. He officially leveled up to level 25, while also receiving precious items from the carcass of the ancient entity that had just been destroyed. Holding the new skill card in his hand, Si Chen pondered what he had just heard. It turned out the Demon King of Wrath had existed in this world long ago, before being sealed away by some mysterious power. There were secrets about the past, and the Demon Kings that even someone as strong as him had never heard of. Suddenly, Si Chen sensed a presence. Gong Ting suppressed his pain, one hand clutching his bleeding wound. He looked at Si Chen with a gaze full of worship mixed with terror, unable to believe he had just witnessed an awakened who possessed multiple professions. Gong Ting admitted he had failed, and that Si Chen's power was on a completely different level from his own. Grateful for having his life saved, Gong Ting promised to keep Si Chen's true power a secret until the day he died. Si Chen remained silent and did not respond, his gaze still cold as if he were thinking about some problem. Fits of coughing made Gong Ting grimace in pain. Blood poured out from between his teeth. His body had reached its limit after taking those attacks from the Wraith Mage. Si Chen stood watching from afar and then reassured him. "The boss has been destroyed. The exit to the dungeon must be open by now. Hang in there a bit longer, the guild's people will be in here soon." But just as he was preparing to leave, a surge of electricity shot through Si Chen's mind. His eyes suddenly glowed with purple light, signaling a terrifying event taking place elsewhere. A horrific vision appeared in Si Chen's eyes, as clear as if it were happening right in front of him. Amidst the blurred purple fog, a mysterious middle-aged man wearing a gray suit appeared. He radiated terrifying pressure with black tentacles surrounding his body. Si Chen gasped in shock. Zai Yun. A sense of extreme unease surged as he realized his only sister was in danger. The mysterious man wearing sunglasses revealed himself with glowing green eyes full of cunning. The black tentacles were stretching out, preparing to swallow the poor prey. Zai Yun was clutching the lion Leo in extreme fear. The tentacles had wrapped tightly around them and their lives were in danger.